All right, welcome to Florida's Drinking Report. I'm your captain today, Dave Boucher, joined again by my co-captain, Brian Tonneson.
Hey!
And we got Emily here, who's back today as well. And our guests today, Jamie Morse and Mike Licameli.
How you doing?
Also known as Foamy in the Head.
Yeah, this is. We were looking forward to this one for a really long time, and the fact that we're back here in this really quiet back area.
Yeah, we're coming to you live from Sailfish Fort Pierce today as well,
right
in the
front of
brewery.
In the brewery,
Yeah,
by
if
the
you can't
tanks.
tell.
Yeah, so great ambiance, a little bit of background noise. Hopefully you guys can
This is where
hear
I sleep.
it clearly.
This will be
just in the
great when you
mood.
have like a 7-speaker system.
Yeah. So diving into drinking report. So it's kind of an easy one today. We are all drinking light tackle. So
Throw
cheers,
it up,
everyone.
LTL.
LTL.
Cheers.
Gabe's way with
Gabe's
a
way
line.
indeed.
Always
Quantity,
Always
baby.
blind.
Thanks,
Quantity.
Gabe.
The people in my tackles will happen at some point. If you guys are gonna love it.
Well, again, it's just peer pressure is a real thing. Everybody, we're coming off the heels of Election Day. Your friendly neighborhood Brian overdid it. Stayed up to 3 a.m, and I didn't even go to bed. I fell asleep sitting
Sober
down.
or drinking?
Oh, drinking.
Yeah.
It was Sunrise Cities. Well,
If
also,
you weren't drinking last night, you have nerves of steel.
yeah, no, you had to have something.
Some sort of inebriation.
Yes.
Correct. There had to be some sort of thing there. So
Oh, yeah.
I overdid it. I fell asleep sitting up. I woke up at 6:30. Promptly texted Dave, "Hey man, I'm a little behind this morning."
Were
Which
you
is-
Winnie the Pooh this
No,
morning?
this was not Winnie the Pooh.
Okay.
For those that don't know what Winnie the Pooh is, this is when you consume too much.
Oh, yeah.
You wake up with just a shirt and no pants. That's Winnie the Pooh.
What's great about that
that's quite the
story is
vision.
as I'm dropping Brian off in his room, he starts to
that.
prepare for Winnie the Pooh while
Yeah.
I'm still in there.
Dude.
Just straight Donald Duck.
The more that we peel back that onion, the more I learn. And I'm like, I'll make it right. I'll say it right now. Christmas party, I'll go half, but I'm going full boat. And
You
falling
said
down the
that
street.
last year. Too.
Yeah, and it got worse.
It got. I mean, at least you didn't face plant it. Well.
No, I did.
You did.
No,
Was that when you had all the Malort?
No. I'm not a Malort guy.
He was a Jello shots
I
guy
turned
all the
into
time.
A Jell-O
a
shot guy?
Jell-O
21-year-old woman and took
Under
about
intense
100
pressure.
Jello shots. Yeah.
He was definitely a woo girl also.
Straight up.
are you?
There was a picture of us. I don't even know where the frick we were in front of a white Christmas tree, and I'm like jumping to House of Pain, and Dave and Emily are like, "Calm it down, dude." And like I'm a blur, and they're
Because when you think
So
Christmas,
I
you think
my
House of
arms
Pain.
are up in the air for this one too because
Oh, yeah.
I get so excited when Brian turns into Woo Girl because I'm amongst my own at that point.
Yeah,
so,
no, I no.
You joined the crowd.
We were talking the same language. Christmas party.
We are gonna have
Speaking at the
shirts
same
made.
frequency level.
Right.
Yeah.
We're gonna have
So-
shirts made that say "Wee Girl" right on the back, like jerseys and shit.
So, but the minute I saw Jamie and Mike walk in the building, and Jamie, you're a part of it too.
Sir.
I'm gonna have a beer today. I am. I'll recover, and things will be all right with the universe.
I think we're all kind of recovering.
Yes.
Yeah.
In one way or the other.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, listen. Talking about why, and so great to have Mike and Jamie on the podcast today. Thank you guys for being here.
Oh, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
I know we've been talking about doing this for a long time, and we're finally glad to have you guys on. And a little bit of background where that came from. So, when we had this idea of the podcast, and shout out to really two inspirations for us was Jeff Register with the Register Report. I
Register
believe.
Yeah.
podcast.
Register podcast, sorry, which we need to have him on soon as well too. But talking about this idea to Mike and Jamie, and they're like, "Man, we had that same idea," and you guys were going to call it what?
Go ahead, Mike.
Foamy in the head.
So why Foamy in the Head? Beer themed, yeah.
It really just came into like beer theme. We obviously both work in the beer industry, and it wasn't really a podcast until we started telling people that they can't call us at a certain time in the morning because we're just chit-chatting in the morning. He's on his way to his accounts, I'm on my way to accounts, and the 2-minute phone call turned into a 10-minute phone call, turned into a 25-minute phone call, turned into I know that he's not talking to me now because he's dropping off his daughters, and he knows not to call me because I'm pooping. I'm like, it just completely turned into I can't call you because during the podcast.
A radio show for two.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it just kind of steamrolled into, I think you said you were going to be like possibly doing like Twitch stuff during the pandemic.
Yeah.
So you had equipment?
A little bit. Yeah, I had some stuff, and it was just we was like, we can really do this. Like if we can come over to my house, we can go to your house, we can set this up. It'd probably be tougher in my house with the kids running around all over the place. And
I think
everything,
it'd be great.
Yeah, it was,
We can relate.
yeah, they've been here doing that, terrorizing the brewery. But yeah, it was just like we could really do this. And then it just started kind of just snowballing even more and more. Like we started asking people, and like if Jamie and I were to do a podcast called Foamy in the Head, you know, who would be Foamy and who would be the head?
That was my that's what I was the first pros. Yeah,
and like, you know, we went down an avenue of like. That's what you think? I mean, we asked AI, I asked my wife, we were asking friends.
I had to pull over. I was using like Chat GPT, and I gave it all these kind of descriptions of Smarky and this and beer related, blah, blah, blah. And then it just, you know, what would they look like? And it barfed out this thing.
Didn't you get an AI image too?
No, I didn't do image. I wanted to.
It'll
but
paint the image.
Yeah.
And
it was just a simple Chat GPT.
You'll be like, oh, that's Mike and Jamie.
I remember
it's like Beavis and Butthead.
Clear as well.
Oh, maybe I did.
That's what I would have told you guys to go with, because Foamy in the Head is cool. It's a lot cooler after about 800 Busch Lights and some Sunrise Cities at Tiki 52.
Oh, yeah.
You could have said the show was, you know, poop stain and apple. And I mean, that's
weenie
the
in the butt.
Weenie in the butt.
Weenie in the butt.
And
is
there
still
was a shout out 2 podcasts ago, and I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Well, it was code. And you guys knew exactly. Then I spilled the beans like right in the middle. Hey, Mike and Jamie, you could have been here.
I was looking for that last night to see what the minute was. But what we really need to get across is the fact that when we saw each other at one of the accounts in Hope Sound or something like that, shout out Tiki 52, but we were there and just hammered.
Oh, yeah.
And we have an idea. We're going to do this and this and this and Chat GPT. And we told you guys, and then a month later, you have a fucking podcast. So when you start getting sponsorships,
Actions speak louder than words.
I'm gonna do Twitch stuff. Yeah, all right. We just never did it. So congratulations, you guys.
Well, look, it's kind of like getting pressure to do 19.2s, right? Okay,
Yeah.
It's just one of those things. You don't have to be first. That package exists. You could just put it out there. So one day, the Mike and Jamie show will be a reality.
I'll tune in so hard.
Yeah.
Like same
One day.
every episode. I will be like, can't wait for the next one.
Yeah.
So you guys
just
need
hit
to do
that
it.
subscribe button. Just hit that subscribe button.
Because I mean that's what it is. I mean, like our calls and stuff like that, like what we talk about in the mornings and stuff. It's like it's nothing but bullshit. Like I mean, you know, we're just talking, you know, everything from work to life and beer, and then you know.
Well, that's a good point.
Marvel
We've
stuff.
noticed as we started doing them, and we're on 8 now, I think. The difference of the structured approach versus just kind of winging it, and we found that kind of just BSing and winging it's actually
More fun.
The October podcast, if you guys are watching this one, you haven't seen that one. All the way up until that one, we had pretty decent structure for us. You know, unless the one I interviewed the founders, this jabroni, not necessarily structured, just more excited to talk to people. But that Halloween one, we went off the rails real quick. And we left that one, like cameras got shut off, and we just kept going. That was the first time.
To be fair, I don't think there were rails.
No,
there were no rails for us on that one.
Listen, I've been telling anybody with 2 ears about your opinions of dolphins since that one, so.
Again,
we don't have to
dolphins are the Diddy of the sea, in case you missed that.
Yeah.
But how do they get the
Throw
oil?
that out there. What?
The ones in the Gulf that already exist.
There you go. The Gulf dolphins are like Diddy.
So so we're happy to have you guys on today and kind of allow you guys to fully experience getting this off the ground, and hopefully you guys do one as well too.
Oh, now we're doing it tonight.
Yeah, it's definitely addictive, and it's just incredibly fun, and doing with fun people, and with Emily and Brian, and having people on like Gabe and Taylor and Kenny and Dave, and it's just fun and just riffing and having a good time and talking about things that are we come from and experience every day, and that's kind of how the reason we started this was there's so many things about this industry that people don't understand.
Yeah.
How our beer gets from this facility, right, like behind me, getting packaged in a can, to Southern Eagle, to the shelf at the store. Like that's a difficult process.
Yeah.
And into someone's hand, exactly at that point. So explaining that's part of like the uncovering of the underbelly of the industry. It's like, hey, this is how it actually happens, and kind of peel back the curtain more or less to expose people. That's kind of the impetus of why we started.
It doesn't happen the way Carol in the grocery store tells you what to do. You guys should have your beer at Disney. You're right. I'll do it now. Like, thanks, Carol.
I'm on my way.
Yeah, we're on our way.
Hang on 1 minute.
Yeah.
We're now Amazon.
Let me call them. What was your name? Martha? Okay. Hello, is this Walt?
It's Mickey the
Well,
Mouse. Speak to Walt's
Martha
head.
in Publix
It's frozen head.
says that, yeah. We're talking. I don't have a joke. Sorry.
All right.
I lost it.
Going through this,
I was so out of it.
Setting the stage for today. First part of this is going to be Florida's drinking report, and then we're going to kind of hand it off to Foamy in the Head and let that be Foamy in the Head's podcast, and let you guys be the host for this for the second part of it. But
awesome.
Transitioning here, so Emily had a fantastic idea yesterday. She watched Pardon the Interruption for the first time ever.
Way to go. You know what? That's not bad. That's really way to go.
Great idea.
It's only been on the air for 10
And
years.
she's like, what's that thing on the right? I'm like, that's just like a rundown of the topics. And she's like, wow, we should do that on the podcast. I said, that's honestly an amazing idea. You know, I don't think we're there to have the graphical representation of it, but we're starting to write it down and talk about topics.
You need to get on that. I want all the graphics.
Yeah, Nate's got his hands full, so he's got enough to do. He's already yelling at us right now for having 5 people on the podcast today. So
He loves editing. We know that much. Loves it. Can't get
So
enough.
much fun.
Loves
So
us with
much
our
fun.
I love how Nate becomes like the 5th man of our podcast.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the producer of like, you know, part of all of our jokes.
Today's,
Yes.
today,
Baba Booey.
today,
Baba Booey.
today he's John Starks. He's our 6th man.
Oh, there we go. 6 man. Yeah, that's a good point. It is 5 people today. Like I said earlier. We're all allowed it. So what we're going to do here is Emily has her topics. You have, what, 8 topics? 10 topics.
10 topics.
Each one of these topics, we're going to have 2 minutes to discuss it. Open forum, more or less, right?
Yep.
It's part of the interruption.
Pardon the interruption.
So when the banner comes across the screen, what's it going to be called?
I think hot topics.
Hot topic.
So
Hot
maybe
topics.
into the microphone.
Hot,
Sorry, I had to move forward.
hot topics.
Hop.
Hot topics.
Hot topics.
Keep
I love that.
Hip-hop Anonymous.
hop anonymous.
Give him the easy one.
You can't even read. All right, guys. So I'm gonna hand it off. So I have this timer here. We're gonna do this. Run through the 10 items that Emily has listed here. Take us 20 minutes, and then we're gonna hand it off to Foamy in the Head, and it's all your guys' podcast at that point. So,
Excellent.
I'm gonna start the timer now. 2 minutes per. Emily, kick us off.
All right. First hot topic, everybody. What do we think about the RTD boom?
I think there's too many. I think really all the RTDs, it comes from 2 brands, now 3 brands. It's Neutral, it's High Noon, and
Surfside.
and Surfside. Yeah. That's
Hashtag ad.
right. But and I'm so grateful that a lot of craft breweries, local ones anyway, have stopped making them because they were not very good.
I'm just
It's
glad
so
we're out of
oversaturated.
I'm just glad we're out of the malt phase, you know, because that whole flavor profile
too.
versus the clean profile and heading into the liquor base and all
Right.
that kind of stuff.
But there is something about that when people talk about, like, be it seltzers or anything else, like, oh, it's another seltzer, be it whatever it is, be it a neutral or anything like that, is, oh, it's a seltzer. No, that's a malt-based seltzer. This is made with vodka or made with this or made with
I
that.
think there's so many of them.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know how you make a decision as a consumer.
Well, then nobody
Right.
knows the difference that they're like. That's the difference in like the hard teas, and then the like hard to me is like it's got the liquor in there, but there's the malt component that most people don't know that there's a difference between the malt RTDs and then like the true hard, like the high noons, the liquor RTDs.
I worked for a wholesaler that took every RTD manageable, trying to beg to get in the state of Florida, and each one was worse than the other. Each one was as flavorless as the other, and they were expensive.
Yeah.
And if you're coming to the market with an RTD, it doesn't have to have magic mushrooms in it. It doesn't have to have.
Can it have magic
It
mushrooms in it?
can, but like why?
THC is coming.
Yeah, it's come.
THC, it's here.
It's here. It's here.
By the way, speaking of that, what was the vote on the amendment yesterday?
It
Did
was
pass?
Suck it, Florida.
Down?
Florida.
Fail.
Man.
They had to get to
Here's the thing.
60%.
You had to get to 60%. It was like 58.
55.
I
Yeah.
would
Man.
have thought it pat would have been like a no-brainer.
No, well, who knew?
All right.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right.
Next topic.
All right, we crushed it. FU RTDs, except for neutral.
And Surfside.
It's Surfside.
Yes.
But really neutral.
All right, next one, Emily.
All right, pineapple on pizza and other controversial pizza toppings.
What else is
Yes,
a controversial pizza topping?
What?
I mean, you
yeah.
tell me.
Sardines?
Sardines.
Oh.
Well, anchovy.
Like-
Ninja
anchovies.
Turtles
That's
hated anchovies
Same
on
thing.
pizza.
Same thing.
So
Whatever.
I hated anchovies on pizza. But, I mean.
never had it.
Dude, it's pizza.
I'm gonna say real quick, pineapple on pizza, hell yeah.
I'm sorry, that was pineapple what?
Pineapple on pizza.
Oh, I thought you said pineapple on pizza. All right.
I
Just
love
the thought of it. No,
Pineapple and ham.
And I mean the whole
Like a Hawaiian-
a Hawaiian style, but you know,
the bacon and
people get aggressively offended by
I just-
pineapple on pizza.
I think at that point you're looking to get mad at something.
Yeah,
Right.
that's internet anger.
What do you
Pineapple
think
on
about
pizza is good. Oh, you don't like it?
pickles?
Cool.
No,
don't eat
so
it.
there's someone I follow on Instagram who does a weird pizza every week, and the last one that she did was like marshmallows and graham crackers,
no.
like
Oh.
s'mores
Like that-
pizza.
that's cake. That's
Well,
too
what's
high.
the base? Is the base like Nutella?
No, it's like
A
cheese
normal
pizza.
Ew.
Cheese pizza with like marshmallows
I'm
and
not
fucking
mad about
graham-
it, but I wouldn't eat it.
Have you guys seen that like DiGiorno has a Thanksgiving pizza, and I think they're
Oh,
only doing it
God.
at like one particular store that starts with an A and ends in an I.
So,
but there's no
almost-
tomato sauce or anything, and there's barely cheese, but it's gravy and turkey and a little bit of cranberry. Like,
So almost
I don't think I'm mad
almost
about that.
pizza is almost Thanksgiving.
yeah,
It's
I
like
don't- I'm not
Chicago
mad
deep
about
dish
it.
pizza. Like Chicago deep dish pizza, like you might as well just be eating a cake.
It's a pie.
But it's
It's a
delicious
pie.
though.
It's a pie.
Don't get me
Oh,
started
I don't
on
like
deep
it.
dish.
No.
Thin
Yeah, you have not
thin
had the right
crust.
one
Are you
in
one
Chicago.
of those thin,
Is that-
crusty boys? Is that
What?
you are? A thin, crusty boy.
Yeah, like you know.
Chicago thin pizza is
Yeah.
great. There's a place in Stewart that does it, and it's
I don't
fantastic.
discriminate. with
No,
pizza.
but here's
Uno's in
okay,
Chicago is
no,
one of the best
Uno's
ones.
is great.
King
Yeah.
of Pizza
Not
is
the
Detroit
Uno's in
pizza.
Orlando.
No.
If Detroit pizza.
Barbecue pizzas
I don't think
suck
I've ever
too.
had
Like when
Detroit
they use
pizza.
Detroit
barbecue
pizza
sauce.
Detroit
the
pizza is-
jam.
But
is
like,
the
I love New York
shit.
style.
What
I
is?
love deep dish.
Detroit style
Detroit.
pizza.
What's Detroit?
Okay, Grotto
Yeah.
in West Palm Beach. Get yourself a Sailfish lager
All right,
and
next
get
one.
the Motor City Supreme and
All right,
change
next
your life.
topic.
There you go.
Shut up, Brian.
What's that? What's this one?
Rise of session beers. What do we think about them?
Beer flavored beer.
Oh, I love
Oh
that.
my God!
Speaking of beer
wow.
flavored beers,
I'll
it's
pause a
like-
second.
Pause the timer.
Yeah, let
Sir, did you
Gabe,
invent this Gabe's way?
I have nothing to say
Gabe
about it.
came in hot.
I just work in
Coming
the
in
back.
hot. Thanks, Gabe.
Gabe, are you? I see the glasses on that
Thanks,
get
Gabe.
brought out only on special occasions. Are you too hungover?
Yeah, it's just a little bit. Yeah.
It's Abe Gatson.
So when he's hungover, he has to wear glasses. Other people need Gatorade. You
Take
need
it
something
up
to
with
fix
Gabe,
your
not
vision.
me.
What the
Take it up
hell
with
is
Gabe.
wrong with you?
And cheers to that Gabe's Way lime squeeze.
Gabe's
Way is the
Gabe's
only way.
Way.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, Gabe.
Yeah, no problem.
Crushed it.
You know me, I hate bar alarms.
So yeah,
Gabe's
these,
catch.
so these session beers.
All right, let's get going to the top. All right, session beers.
Session beers. We love them. We want them. I want them around all the time. Light Tackle got me back into drinking beer because I can have 12 of them. Just kidding, but many, and still
She had 12
have
kids.
a great time.
I think as I got older, I appreciated full flavored beers at low ABVs. When I was
Damn,
a
it's
lot
good beer.
younger in my drinking days, you couldn't give me an IPA 9% or over that I didn't enjoy.
This is
Yeah.
where like Jamie and I like so working for Brown for the years that we did and stuff like that. And I'll keep this quick because we're on a timer. But we would drink is craft working for Brown.
Right.
And then now with the acquisition working with Southern Eagle, like we totally were just going out. We started with Michelob Ultra and then like we just found Busch Light and it was
Busch
just
Light.
and it was
It's a game changer.
We
yeah.
could drink 12 of these versus 3 of the 8% IPAs.
Right, but even as you get into craft sessions, something like that is,
Yeah.
I want to taste the flavor of this. We're talking about like Light Tackle. Is what do you want? I want beer flavored beer. I just tried 75 cherry cottage cheese banana beers today.
Well, I think something to
Let me
take
have beer.
Take in consideration though. I think we all have a skewed view of it, being that we either work for a brewery or work for a wholesaler
Yeah.
selling beer. We have access to a lot of beer all the time.
That's
Right.
true.
Most people
Right.
don't have, Sunrise City, for example. Like that's if you aren't.
It's a yum yum.
It's a great beer.
Yes.
And most
Right.
people going out like,
Right.
wow, that's there. I want that. You know, and that's I think I find myself checking myself a lot of like, I think I've been exposed to all these beers, but a lot of people haven't. And
Yeah.
so I don't know if that really answers the session beer question, but I
Do
think
we like it or
we're
not?
all
No, but
very
it gives you
happy
another
with session
perspective
beers.
Do
of
you consider
somebody having
Sunrise
something
a
like that.
session?
No,
No.
I got off the rails.
No, but
actually, yeah.
but
no.
Trent,
Get that going on the rails.
All right.
Moving on. Next topic.
So weird. Got a phone call at the same time.
Lunchables.
what's that?
Lunchables.
All right, so I just recently learned
Pizza one. The pizza
Um,
one.
Yes.
No,
Double
the
cheese.
nachos.
Logan
nachos.
Paul,
Love nachos.
Logan Paul, and a bunch of other people
Oh,
came out
yeah.
with their own like Lunchable
Beastables?
thing.
What?
Mr. Beast, yeah.
M-
So, but
Beastables.
here's the problem.
Is it because he
It's
couldn't
a-
get a McDonald's meal?
It's because he couldn't get McDonald's meal, correct, or some shit like that. But it's got bottles of Prime and like real food. And
What?
the problem is,
It's not real.
no, it is
No,
because
it is.
you
I heard
you
it's
remove
better than Lunchables.
No,
like I've heard
it-
it's
It
good.
can't be better than
on-
Lunchables.
It's better for you than Lunchables, but the problem
Better
is
for
that
you, not
because
better.
they're not pumped in with like preservatives and a bunch of other stuff.
I don't want it.
No, they're peeling back. No, they're peeling back the thing, taking out their bottle of Prime, and the shit is moldy.
Yeah, there's no preservatives in it.
Right. So it's like, yeah.
Does
You need
anyone
that
remember
stuff.
the pizza Lunchables? When
Yes.
I remember this to the T. I mean, I know they've got the variation, of course, like the Lunchables now. But do you remember when it came with the little red stick and the red sauce packet that
Oh,
was
yeah.
Tombstone?
Spread it yourself.
Yes, I do.
I remember to the T, Tombstone marinara. And whenever they went to whatever basic shit they got now, which again, I'll still crush me like 6 Lunchables out, pizza Lunchables specifically at once. But throwback to, being a kid, I couldn't wait to take out my little
All right.
red
What-
stick. Now
what-
we just use the thing you peel off from the marinara to spread the sauce.
Was I the only one that took all of the meat and cheese and just make one
Yeah, you just make
gigantic
one
sandwich? It was
stack
like,
them.
you know what, screw it. Like, I'm just going to eat this all in one go. Like,
That's
and
like
you
a
just
Big
stack
Mac.
it like this. Yeah, and, you know,
You
your
made a
Lunchable is done.
Lunchable Big Mac.
Your Lunchable gone in like 2
considering
bites.
I'm what's
It's
considered
done.
a husky human, I can finish that in a second. So why
Yeah.
don't I finish it in a second?
Husky human.
Let me pause and have one cracker
The
with
way I
cheese.
miss
I'll
my
get
Lunchable.
my cracker, my red dauber. Nope. It's all coming out the same way it came in.
But I also don't
Boom.
want like the ham and
I
cheese,
hope it
turkey
digests
and
a bit.
cheese. I want the nachos, or I want the
Oh, the
pizza.
nachos are the
It's
best.
the 8-year-old charcuterie board.
But
Yeah.
low
Yep.
key,
No,
There,
it's like
yes.
that's why millennials love it so much,
Look-
and why we love charcuterie boards
best,
so much because
best,
we were raised
best thing
on
about
Lunchables.
Lunchables.
All right, on.
I just got to add this. There's a mobile game, a Lunchable game, where you could be a rabbit or a platypus, and you bounce on. I'll put the link in the description. It's the best mobile game of all time.
Sponsored.
I don't know how it was related to
Sponsored
Lunchables.
by
No,
but-
no,
Lunchable
it's
and
a Lunchables
Tombstone.
game. You're a rabbit
Oh.
that jumps on a piece of cheese, a ham, a cracker, and it's
Why
a
does a
Lunch-
rabbit
it's-
want
I'm still
ham?
not gonna eat the ham and
Because
cheese.
Lunchables got weird and got
Shut up,
mascots.
Ryan, again.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep going. What we got next?
Beer box subscriptions.
You always get a dog. That was not a Trump impression, by
I
the
was
way.
like, you just sounded like.
They're eating the dogs.
They're eating the
That was
dog.
not a Trump impression. But there's always a dog in it. Some of the stuff is severely out of. It's out of code. It's bad news.
No, I've had those guys reach out to me before, trying to get us involved in it. And
Right.
Brian, it's just out of code. I mean, it's
To
just.
me, yeah, like I feel like you can't control what you're. Obviously, you can't control what you're.
Great
doing.
idea. I mean-
yeah, I mean it works.
Have you
Yeah.
ever put
See,
thought
I mean-
into doing it just Sailfish alone subscription? Like, small
So we
like
have-
coffee roasters
we
do
have
stuff like
thought
that.
about that, especially selling it out. There's like a handful of states you can actually ship direct to.
Yeah.
I've thought about that in the past too. It's just,
How do you control it?
just time. I mean, time and
Yeah.
people. I mean, bottom line, it's just, it's not our
I
primary.
mean, you think about just food delivery in general.
we're
That
also not
pizza's
a
not
wine
hot when you
club,
get it.
you know,
How will your beer
different.
be?
Yeah.
Yeah, when it goes to Walla Walla, Washington. Say that again.
Well,
Walla
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 Walla.
Walla
Walla Walla.
Walla.
La 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 la.
Would you want to go to Walla Walla?
You will never get this.
Yes.
I have a cheddar. I have a cheddar.
Oh, the wine out of Walla Walla is the best though.
And then you get this. No, I when I was into like when Florida wasn't really a big distribution state, you had to rely on those boxes, and you were able to pick out like what you would want from what state, whatever. But what you don't know is what you don't know. You would get a beer. It's like, no, this is a really exclusive one from the Pike Brewing Company,
Yeah.
and it's 8 months out of code.
Yeah.
It's not like indicative of
There
what's
was
supposed to be.
one that started up that was doing a subscription service for brewery T-shirts
Right.
that Emily turned
Yeah,
into.
I
Yeah.
think I remember something like that.
That was
Yeah.
cool,
Nice.
but and they would pick like a certain amount of T-shirts throughout, the U.S. for breweries, and you would get just picture getting one of our merchandise T-shirts where they're just like, oh hell yeah! So you would get some cool stuff out of it, but it.
All right, moving on.
All right.
You didn't tell her to shut up. You could have told her to shut up.
No, Ryan wasn't talking on that
I
one.
wasn't talking on that one.
Mortal Kombat or Super Smash Bros.
Mortal
Smash
friggin'
Brothers.
Kombat.
Mortal
Super
Kombat.
Smash. Mortal Kombat.
It's so tough for me.
Yes,
because
that's
I
a very
love
good
both.
game, but I believe Donkey Kong is better. Donkey Kong sucks.
I love Donkey
No, like
Kong.
you
Super
suck.
Smash.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, no! I love throwing barrels at things.
No,
playing Donkey Kong.
But when did Super Smash Brothers come out?
That's irrelevant.
So
First
no,
one
it was on N64, so I want to say 97, 98.
Right around there.
Okay, so Mortal Kombat was
But it
like
didn't really get
91,
big.
92.
91, 92.
A little bit.
Yeah,
You've
so
never
I
listened.
fed tokens to a machine and I played Mortal Kombat.
No.
Yeah.
You
Fair,
su-
yeah.
no,
Yeah.
Here's the
Fair.
thing. It changed.
I grew up in the sticks. We didn't have arcades, so yeah.
It changed video games because before that it was like a cartoon pig steals a cartoon ham.
All right, so-
and then all of a sudden you see this ninja in blue rip a dude's head off. Get out of-
Finishing move.
Yes,
But all the nostalgic
Finish him.
characters
You
in
uppercutted
Super
a gun.
Smash.
What's that?
All the nostalgic characters.
So
I mean,
no,
you're
no.
checking so many boxes.
So-
Mario,
I've never actually
Pokemon,
played
like-
Super Smash before. I don't know what it's about.
Oh, it's awesome.
Oh
No,
my God.
you can
And
play
all
as
the
every
levels.
Nintendo
Your
or
goose is
Nintendo
cooked.
Universe character,
Right.
and you're just beating the shit out of other Nintendo. It's awesome.
Dave,
And
my-
you would get
my
all
kid
the
plays
powers
it,
of
you're gonna
like
go
every
blind
Mario.
watching
Do a Super Smash
Trust
Brothers
me.
tournament at
Hey,
Sailfish.
Josh.
Oh yeah.
You guys, it would be packed.
It would
We've
kill.
done Mario Kart.
Packed.
No, Mario
Yeah.
Kart's the shit.
Smash Brothers is
Mario
Except for
Kart
is a
Rainbow
lot of
Road.
fun.
Top tier is Mario Kart, but yeah, I mean the thing about I played Mortal Kombat so much and I love Mortal Kombat, but like with
Loves
Super
it.
Smash Bros, it was just straight like you got to pick your favorite character. Like Kirby, I love Kirby because
Right.
that little shit could flap up in the air and he'd be like, "Psych, got you, playa."
the
And you
character.
could
Smash
just win
Brothers
by,
is
like,
more
calming
fun.
down.
Mortal Kombat, it was just a place and time.
I'd rather play Injustice.
What's-
So you can play with all of what do you call it, the Marvel
That's
and
fair, yeah.
DC.
That
like,
was pretty good, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
I'm
I
Batman
didn't know that.
fighting
Yeah, yeah.
Superman, and then they've now stretched into, if I'm correct, like Mortal Kombat characters and a few
Yeah.
other things,
Yeah,
right?
they
Yeah, they
built
have
like
a lot of
cross
guest,
branding
Batman
and all
and
The
that.
guys
Yeah.
from The Boys and stuff like that.
Yep.
Yeah, Homelander. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
All right, moving on.
Beer Fest.
Ugh.
Suck it. I mean, they're awesome.
Super duper.
No, they.
Everyone's
Yay.
sighing.
I've been doing Beer Fest for 14 years.
Yep.
They are great for so many reasons, especially when you're a smaller
Yeah.
brewery starting out.
Oh, yeah.
They are
100%.
the free landscape to get people exposure, you get honest feedback. We just did one this past Saturday, Treasure Coast Beer Fest.
Yeah.
Awesome event.
Yep.
Paul and Shane went from the brewery, which they were super pumped about, came back, like I said, man, I want to do every beer fest we do.
Oh, yeah. I saw him down there.
Yeah,
They're
it's
working
a
it.
great opportunity to connect with so many people. And I'll tell you, there has been places that have put us on draft because buyers have been to Beer
Absolutely.
Fest and had our beer and said, I want to put Sailfish on draft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The format, I think, needs a little bit of an upgrade.
Yeah.
And
I
that-
think
and
that's
that-
it.
Well, I think we also went down the path too of the for-profit beer fest versus the charity ones.
Right.
Yep.
So we tend to do not do the for-profit ones anymore. It's
Right.
all charity ones. It has to be charity based.
I mean, I came across really negative about it, but I mean, I went to Beer Fest
Exhausting.
as soon as I could go to them, and I've worked
Yeah.
them. I've been on both sides of the table, and I've
Right.
been with my family, and they are family oriented in the right place.
Yeah.
But a lot of them have turned into, I just spent $30. I'm going to get as hammered as I
Right.
can on little
Right.
4
That's-
ounces
that's
of
what it-
beer.
They come up and they're like, "I'll have the strongest thing you got."
Yeah.
Well,
and
yeah.
it's no, or I'll have
What
the
can I have for
Sailfish,"
free?
I
Yeah.
just think they need to
T-shirts,
evolve
right,
a
you
little
know?
bit. Like I think
Yeah.
like it just needs to be like a little bit of a change, like a mix up. Like how can we make this to where it's just not
So, like, the one
Cagey.
one
walking
for me,
around and going to tents?
The one
for me that
we're
was
down
great
to
again.
that age. Like how can we change this up a little
baseball
bit?
and brews at Roger Dean this year, I thought that was
Yeah.
fantastic.
So
And-
Yeah,
and,
that
like-
was well done.
one's a
and
lot
it's
of
one of
fun.
those things.
And it
it's-
always
yeah.
is.
No,
Yeah.
but
I'll tell you, the one I did at the Palm Beach Zoo, this is like probably 5 years ago.
Yeah.
One of the
I
funnest
remember
ones ever
those.
done.
I went to one of those.
yeah, no. Ron Brooks used to run those. He was
Yeah.
awesome. But no, I don't know what that looks like. The format change.
Well,
you know,
there's
where
one-
you're not.
Right.
Realistically, I think you're they're for educational purposes, not
Shut
to
up,
get hammered.
Brian.
For science.
All right.
Shut up
next
for
topic.
science.
Crocs, the shoe. No. I'm gonna start off by saying no, just no. But unless they come out with like a cowboy boot Croc,
They
then
have
I'll
one.
be
Do
in.
They have
do?
one.
It exists.
They
But like
absolutely
the
have one.
whole shoe needs to be a
okay.
cowboy
I think
boot
the form and
Croc.
function
What about
of
like a
them makes
Vans?
sense.
A van, like I have Vans style
I've seen
shaped
them.
and like
I've
Crocs.
seen them. Out
What
of
about
principle,
those?
I can't do it out of principle.
Come on.
I just can't do
They're
it.
Vans
Crocs-
though. They're not
Crocs-
Crocs.
But then they're Vans. They're
All
not.
right, next
Mike,
question.
pass that to her
Socks
so
with
she
your
can see
Crocs.
it.
Right. No.
What's your
no.
what?
Socks while you're wearing your Crocs.
No socks with Crocs.
I
No
feel like
socks.
it's-
There you go.
Here's your boot.
There you
Here's
go,
your
blonde girl.
Cowgirl.
Those
Yeehaw.
aren't even real. They're on eBay.
Look, all I did is put Crocs cowboy, but
I mean, I'm
it
still not gonna
it can be
Where's the
real.
Spurs?
Crocs-
There's Spurs on.
Crocs had a really weird career arc, right? Like,
Oh, it's still going.
No,
People
but-
are vehemently.
They
But
have
like
they
were-
holders for your Crocs
they
now.
kind of became like
Pretty
the
awesome.
the
They have
Creed,
flashlights
the
for 'em.
Creed or the Nickelback of like footwear.
let's not go there.
No.
with that.
You can put flashlights
There's
in
got
the
to be
holes.
there's got to be a little
Think
love
about
for that.
Think about a production though. You make something out of a plastic mold,
Right.
and you can shoot out as many things as you want to. There's
Well-
no
And
little
charge
hands.
$50 for
There's
it.
not 6-year-olds building your shoes. It's a machine making them out of plastic.
They are building the little trinkets that you put on your shoe. Apparently, that's a big
Well,
deal.
I
It
think
is,
it's
yeah.
kind of cool
Yeah.
that you can put all your little charms on them, and it, like if you really want, you could be like, I could do like EMI on one shoe and then LEY.
So
In
she's
case
thought about this, yeah.
Nobody knows my name, right? Nobody would know my name, but if you look at my Crocs, now you know my name.
You just
But I
want
like
people to look at your
flashlights.
feet.
I'm not opposed to them, but I'm also like,
Do you own a pair?
no,
I do.
no, and I
Not your
wouldn't.
fans' ones.
No,
I own a pair of Crocs too.
How many do you own?
One.
Because you're a man.
What's that got to do with anything? Where's your Crocs?
I don't wear Crocs because
Respect
no.
yourself.
Yes. I got plenty of pairs of
Form
flip-flops.
and function, they make a lot of sense.
No
to me,
shame.
to me, they don't look comfortable.
All right.
They're
All
not.
right, moving on.
Best beer for breakfast.
Founder's breakfast stout.
Second,
White Marlin.
I would also say White Marlin. Yeah.
I could also
That's when I'll
go
dabble on White Marlin so hard is at breakfast where I'm like,
Great Divide,
Yeah.
French Toast Yeti.
Oh, yeah.
That's a really good one.
Yeah, but there's different things. What are you doing that day? Are you going out to play golf all day and drink like 20 beers? Or are
Right.
you
I was
just
gonna say a
like,
Bloody Mary, but whatever. We roll with that.
Do you want an
there's-
RTD Bloody
you know,
Mary?
a Michelada. Michelada.
Michelada?
Yeah.
Yeah, those are solid.
Right.
Yeah.
Love those.
Yeah.
Especially
Yeah.
when I'm down in QS and
Or red-
hungover as
red
hell.
beer?
Red Eye?
No, she
Red
turned me
beer.
on to it.
Definitely
like,
red beers.
Micheladas are
Oh,
amazing.
I love them.
We used to get them at when they had lager on draft at what's it called, Southernmost Cafe.
Uh-huh.
We would get the
Yeah.
Micheladas down there on that. It was
Oh,
awesome.
I
yeah.
mean, now we do it at Concord Public where it's just like, they look at me
Yeah,
and I'm
fair,
like, can
yeah.
I have our lager with a spice? They do the best Bloody Mary mix. It's spicy. It's got the sauce. Oh, so good. And we do that, and I'm like, everyone's looking at me like, what the hell do you got? And I'm like, just try it.
I get down on that. I've had
That's
that.
the difference of like light tack on lager. Lager is that Michelada beer.
Right, because it's like
Bonnie.
malty enough to where it
So
sustains
I
the
did an event
thickness.
at Fresh Market in Vero Beach about a month ago, and they were squeezing fresh tangerine juice, and I was pouring it into my White Marlin. So like a Marlin Mosa. That was
Ooh,
pretty
a
good.
Marlin Mimosa.
Yes, sir.
I love
Man.
Yeah, we used to do those in the
I'm a
tap
girl.
house.
That sounds awesome.
I know you want to address me as a little boy, but I'm a
You
girl.
called yourself a little
Wait,
boy.
wait. You want to do what again?
I did.
He said, yes, sir.
He desperately wants to make love to a schoolboy.
Again.
That was
Yes.
great.
Check my connection.
Do we have any Bloody Mary mix here?
We did because I made Dave at one point when I worked for a previous wholesaler. I was like, "You will bring in this Bloody Mary mix," and
Yeah.
he did. He brought it in by the cases load, and we tried a brunch here at one point.
Yeah, we were trying brunches at both spots,
Yeah.
and it was pushing the Micheladas and Marlin Moses.
All right,
A
shut
Marlin
up,
Marlin
Dave.
Mimosa
sounds
is good. I've had that.
That sounds
Yeah.
awesome.
Next topic. Speaking of breakfast, what do we think about brunch?
It's the best thing in the world.
I absolutely love it.
Brunch or breakfast?
No, brunch.
Breakfast.
No,
I hate brunch.
I'm not a brunch fan.
I'm not a brunch
no,
girl.
No.
I don't.
I
Brian, it
didn't.
makes sense.
No.
You're a little woo girl over there that you
No,
would love brunch.
I didn't know I was a 29-year-old white woman until I went to brunch for the first time. And
Yeah.
Bottomless
it's-
mimosas. On,
Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
It's game
Bloody
on.
Mary for
And,
me.
Like you can get a cheeseburger and French toast. Like what life
There
is
was
this?
a point where
no,
my
I
cousin
just
would.
want one or the other.
No, you get both.
I want both,
It's on
especially
the
if
menu.
especially if it's in like buffet mode or the
Correct.
winner they're serving, like almost if it's on like tapa style.
I
What do you
want
want?
the
I want one
food.
piece of French toast. I want
But-
some watermelon and ooh, prime rib.
But they serve
Right,
some
you know,
shitty,
why not?
shitty champagne
I
that
don't
makes
know
you
what-
feel like dead.
Yes,
I
but
don't know what
you
brunch
don't
you're
go
going
to
to.
that. Don't go to that one. Go to the one at the Breakers.
I mean, yeah. I mean,
The
yes,
thing is,
that's on the list. I just
I'm
talked
a-
about this last week. I was
here-
like, we got to go to the Breakers.
I'm
for
an
their
early
super-
guy. I'm a 4 a.m., 5 a.m. guy.
hell no.
My friends are not.
Ugh.
So we like compromise on brunch when we go, and it's just bad news.
But on the
Yeah.
other side of that is I like breakfast food so much I make it a lot, for dinner, especially when it's
Yeah.
me and my kid.
A
Is
big fat bowl of cereal.
like
for
not only
dinner.
bowl of cereal, which is more dessert for me. Like at the end of the day, I've had my dinner or whatever else.
Fair.
I'll have a bowl of cereal 3-4 times a week, but yeah, 10:30 at night.
Yeah.
But I'll make breakfast for dinner, like biscuits and gravy or
Yes.
omelets or something
Oh,
like
yeah.
that for me and my kid on a Tuesday.
Here's the real question.
No.
Club
What's
going
what's
up.
the line of demarcation for brunch? To
Like,
me, it's
as
2
far as
o'clock.
the-
It's 2 o'clock.
I think you got
11
to
to 2.
stop. Agreed.
Hard
I think
stop
that's
at
the
2.
perfect time.
These
Agreed.
places running brunch to 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
That's pretty
Yeah,
good.
that's because
Brunch
they
at 2
turn
o'clock.
into
You're not
clubs
eating dinner.
at
Yeah.
2 o'clock.
Yeah, you're not
Yeah.
eating dinner. Like
True.
if you're
Right.
going to a full blown
It's
brunch
not even
at
the
2
food
o'clock.
part. The food part, I'm like, hell yeah, because again, yeah, you can get breakfast or you can get lunch, and then you get the skillets, you get the gravies, you get all of it. But
The
it
gravies.
is that
Did you get the gravies? You got that,
bottomless.
okay.
The bottomless is that where I always go wrong.
Still
My
there.
cousin and I were really into CrossFit for some point in time, and she would come see me, and we would
Shut
do
up,
Emily.
They said it.
Thanks, Mike.
The
power
I
of
this
mean,
table.
honestly deserved.
There it is.
So that's it on Hop Topics,
All right.
everybody.
Hop Topics.
A good mix of all of it.
You give her 4 more light tackles and
I don't know about all that. It's more so the banjo comes out, and then everything is just
you know how to play the banjo?
We get the first part of
should.
Deliverance and
I
then the end of
should.
Deliverance.
I
So
should. They call it speaking banjo. Every time I'm drunk, I'm mad, angry, all the above, they'll be like, oh, she's speaking banjo. And it's...
I love that. I'm going to say that a lot to you now.
Yeah, it's
How
a
long
thing.
is this podcast?
So Brian Miller actually coined that term, I think, in
Okay.
US. So Brian Miller.
Miller also speaks his own form of musical instrument, might I add, and it's the mumbles music instrument, and we'll be sitting there, and I'll be like, what did you just
He's
say?
all
And I'm like,
Boomhauer?
bro, what did you just say?
no, it's not Boomhauer. I like to call it the washboard because it's like everything's fine. It's like
My favorite, one time he was just like, there was somebody from Tennessee that was, me and him were talking, and he was just like, oh, this is going to be hilarious. And he was just sitting there listening. He was like, I can't understand a single word they're saying.
Oh, you
I'm
were
just
on.
like,
There was one day you were on the phone with one of your sisters, and I'm like, I know what she's saying is English. I just don't know what she said.
it was for Halloween.
their own
Oh, that's what. Yeah, you were old Greg, and it was just like.
That was
It was a great costume, by the way.
I mean,
love me?
it wasn't. I
my-
set myself up.
From what I heard, like, okay, because she's on FaceTime with her. This is what I heard.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was like,
literally.
what?
That's what
And I'm like, okay, I'm pretty sure it's English.
How long was the makeup on you? Like, how long did
that costume lasted. I mean, the makeup took like
About an
5 minutes to do.
Two.
Sir.
Okay.
And it was
Correction.
so itchy. And then my seaweed wig, which was made out of trash, like grocery bags, and glued to a
Shout out to
wig
Hefty.
cap. It was actually shout out to Sprouts. They
I
had the
care.
nice thick bags. Anyway, it was cutting my circulation off, and then I was getting a lot of stares that night, and it was just, that's fine. It's Halloween. It's what you expect. But there was a point where my circulation was being cut off to my brain, and everyone I hugged, I was getting green makeup on them, and I was like, I gotta get out of this. And then I transformed into Lone Star's girl.
That's the worst Princess Fiona from Shrek costume ever.
And I was like, who are you? I'm like, I'm old Greg.
I knew that some people wouldn't know,
You
but
ever
it was
drink mayonnaise from
shocking
a
to
boot?
me. It was shocking to me how many
I
people
couldn't think of the
knew.
whole thing.
Yo, I mean, I had one girl straight up ask, she was like, can I buy your costume from
Yeah,
you? And I'm
I
like,
remember,
girl,
yeah.
you can have it.
Yeah.
You know, your head looks smaller than mine. You can have it.
I got these garbage bags from Sprouts, so you can have it.
Have my recycled bags.
Here's the receipt.
All right, are we ready to hand the keys over to these guys?
It's time.
I'm ready.
All right, as Tom Hanks said, or that Tom Hanks movie, you're the
Captain
captain
Phillips.
now.
Oh, I'm the captain
Yeah.
now. So if we have a skipper, do we have a Ginger Gilligan?
Yes. Sure.
So are we going to be Marianne or are we going to be Ginger? I guess you'd have to be Marianne if I'm going to call him Ginger Gilligan.
Who are we talking about?
Okay, you're a
There's this-
fetus, so we're not going to do
there's
that.
there's this show on TV called Gilligan's Island.
All right, old guys.
Only
yeah.
only guys
3
like
hour
Jamie and I.
tell-outs,
Yeah.
3-hour tour.
You guys do this to me every time.
It's not even.
Shut
in
up,
the-
Licameli. You know what Gilligan's Island
it's
is.
not
what
in the
Gilligan's
lexicon
Island is,
anymore.
but I'm not gonna like recite lines from
Right.
Gilligan's
Like, I
Island.
know what it
I know
is.
the
I just
name.
haven't.
Listen,
it's not
somehow
like it was on the top of
they
my
were stuck on an
watch
island
list.
by themselves where the Harlem Globetrotters came one day. It was very strange.
Several
I
people.
didn't.
That was an episode?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The Harlem Globetrotters came to Gilligan's Island and then
Every
left.
episode was who showed up on that one, pretty much.
Yeah.
So, like, Lost?
But when you can make a radio out of
not really.
two coconuts,
Production value way lower.
but how did that professor not get a Nobel? I made the radio work with what? Seawater and 2 fucking coconuts.
Yes.
He couldn't get off an island, but he got
SS
power
Minnow.
to a radio
They went on a 3-hour tour. They ended up on an island
for
and
30 years.
for a billion years,
They
no
didn't
one
age
aged.
at all.
Yeah.
Well, I was about to say, did time
And
hold still? Or?
for whatever reason, the people who were the millionaire and his wife
Yep.
were somehow still had money.
Mr. Magoo.
Yeah. Oh,
Why does
Currency
Gilligan.
apparently still had a value.
I was going to say, why
Gilligan,
does it
you've
matter
done
if you
it
have money?
I have no idea what you're talking
So,
about.
this is not to be confused with Gullah Gullah Island, correct?
Totally different show.
Completely different.
Totally.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
All right, so hand it off to you guys. You guys are now the hosts. It's your
Weenie
podcast.
butt, enjoy.
Yeah.
Weenie in the butt.
Foamy in the head.
Foamy in the head, weaning the butt was what Brian can just continue to come out with. You know,
Yes.
just something. We just wanted something that was, I don't know, just catchy. I guess when we were talking
Stupid.
about it. But
Whatever.
Jamie, you were actually on a radio show for one point, right?
Yeah, it wasn't particularly a radio show, but I was on a radio station. I worked for The Buzz about
Okay.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
for 100. It was a couple lifetimes ago.
You're in your element.
I am in my element.
Yes, and
So
I love it.
I had people
think-
ask,
You're
I
always
had
in your
people ask me
element.
today
Let's
if
be
I was nervous,
I
and
think
I'm not.
I knew a guy who went by Bat Nails.
That's not me, but
Batman?
yes, Bad Nails was part of the morning
Batman.
show.
Who are you,
toward
who
the
are you
end.
Jamie?
I was dubbed Insane Jay by my predecessor, or like when I was
It
interning.
makes sense.
It kind of worked out, but
Like in sync?
I was hoping it could be because
It's more like Insane Clown Posse.
It was just that I was. It was just that I was
saw that live
irreverent.
once.
So
Instant regret.
Oh, that's
it was
Well,
sad.
Instant regret.
But they wouldn't let me just go by something else or just even my own name, like just continue down with that.
Stage name.
Yeah, so, Insane Jay, fine. But I was never on the morning show. It was the afternoon guys, and I was their intern. But regardless, it kind of worked out. But I only got into it because my check cleared from Connecticut School of Broadcasting. So, if you want
Very
to,
good.
yeah, you want to graduate, your check needs to clear. That's really how that school works.
I love that for you.
But in any event,
That's awesome.
but I got to meet some people, and it was cool.
I was about 8 minutes away from doing the same thing, and I
Right.
just never did.
Yeah.
So wait, is Connecticut School for Broadcasting in Connecticut?
There is one in Connecticut.
There's
yeah.
one. It started in Connecticut, but they
Yeah.
have like hundreds of, for lack of better words, campuses
Satellite
across the
campuses.
country. Yeah,
And the campus is this plaza,
yeah.
you know,
Like-
type of thing.
You can go to this Asian market, and you can go to this dry cleaner, and then there's the Connecticut School of Broadcasting.
It's really how much you put into it. I mean, for what it's worth, is you get an internship, or you can get an internship.
yeah,
I was
for sure.
fortunate enough to get one at the station I wanted to, and then it's really, I mean, it's not like getting the baked potato for Howard Stern type of shit, but it's pulling all the CDs and looping, doing editing and things like that, and getting things prepared, which kind of turned into, okay, you're now free labor, and then that turned into, here's a couple hours on a weekend. Okay,
You
here's
got
a
to be a
complete
chauffeur
Yeah.
for a couple of
But
bands.
some people
did.
just have the
Yeah.
face for radio. You know what I
I
mean?
do have that face for radio because
I
I'm
think
That's
ugly
actually,
as shit.
you know, that's a very insulting thing to say to somebody.
I just said I think he's beautiful, and I was going. and
Shut up, Emily.
It's like, you've got a face only a mother could love.
All right, Brian and Emily on the same frequency now. So two blue girls.
I love
Jamie's
Jamie, and I think
blushing.
he just has that beautiful voice to captivate. So I'm excited to see what the hell you're gonna make us talk about.
Well, it's
today.
really just questions and
We're
stuff,
ready.
but-
Ready for it.
perfect.
All right, it's your guys' show now.
Well, I kind of went back and forth with Mike about these things. I
Yeah.
wanted to like dig deep, and just for you guys out there in the FBI, there's nothing about Dave Boucher out there. There's really nothing. Now we could do a whole show on what I found about Emily, but absolutely
There's
no.
a lot
The
about this
outlaw.
guy, Bobby Boucher. But
tons.
You're not
But
supposed to reveal the alias.
What's that?
You're not supposed to reveal the alias.
oh, right.
but what I really want is when you're hosting, when you are the skipper,
Yes.
is nobody really asks you about things for you. Now you've talked about your brewery and a couple things and how long it's been around and a couple of things that you may have overcome, or just the duration of time you've been here since you moved from the other shop and things like that. But nothing really about you. So I guess that's kind of where I kind of leaned in on just asking you about things as if you were on our podcast. And
Yeah.
I love that.
and I just wanted. It honestly was a really completely simple. Like, what would present day successful brewery guru you say to new home brewer you? Your younger self. What would you say to them? Almost like what do you know now?
It's funny because I've had a few people come to me that are at that home brewer level and want to start a brewery, and I'm an open book. I'll tell you everything to do, to not to do.
Right.
Well, as we all know, you open a brewery and you're an instant millionaire.
No, exactly.
Obviously.
If you want
that's
to
how it works.
want to make $1 million in the beer industry, start with two. So
Yeah. Just
it's going into it when we opened it up, going on 12 years ago. The ideas were there wasn't a lot of them, right? So now there's a lot of breweries in Florida, at least, and so much of it, excuse me, so much is tied into just the local community. You want to be that local spot people go to.
Yeah,
right.
And where we found success over the years, and we've had some great people part of the brewery over those years as well too, just entrenching yourselves in the community and being that partner in the community. And just there's a lot of things you want to do. People will talk to you about doing. Why don't you do this? Try this. Just don't listen. Put earmuffs on. Keep doing what you're doing. Do
Right.
it well.
You do you, boo.
Pretty much. And
Always
just do.
have
Don't
your
try.
identity,
Maintain your identity.
Yeah.
Establish and maintain your identity. Know who you are, or who you want to grow into at least. You have like an idea where you want to be at in 5 years, but it's going to ebb and flow.
Did it take a while until you got to that KISS system of keep it simple, stupid?
For sure, because you want to you want to be everything to everybody.
Right.
And you realize as you
Right.
get into it, you can't and be successful at the same time. So you really have to focus on, what's the most important to the company in the brewery, and what are you trying to accomplish. And that's one thing I harp to everybody, and I've said it to Brian numerous times as we plan for every year, is what can we actually accomplish and be effective and do it really well. I'd rather pick 3 things and do them really well
Right.
versus doing 10 things and kind of half-ass them.
Yeah.
Yeah, just being a jack of all trades and master of none.
Yeah.
I just wanted to piggyback on your first comment about like the community aspect and things like that. We all saw on social media like the stuff you guys kind of did for the hurricane victims,
Which is
and
just
things like that. I
fantastic.
mean, that is just
And the
11
focus of
11
it.
out of 10 stuff for you guys.
Well,
And,
I had a certain connection to
hats
it
off
too.
to
I
you
mean,
guys
I
for
grew
that.
up.
It's
I grew
awesome.
up in Homestead in the Redlands, so I went through Hurricane Andrew, and I knew what that was like. And Friday morning after the tornadoes came through on Wednesday, I was driving through the neighborhood with Nate, Gabe, and Howard Dunn. Shout out to Dunn Foundation. I mean, Howard, great. I actually meet with him tomorrow, do more stuff with them. He's a great guy. He's a great dude, and his foundation it means so well. But that drive reminded me a lot of Andrew, and like that aftermath. You're just like, and I was probably 13 at that time when they came through, and I remember like what do you do now?
Yeah.
We were without power
Right.
for 2 months. We had a generator for 2 months. We didn't get power back we didn't get our phone back for 4 months.
I remember hearing your
Wow.
stories of just kind of how you had mentioned that it was your uncle, right? That
Yeah, so my uncle finally made his way out to our house after the hurricane came through, and he pulled up in the front yard in his truck, and he got out of the car with a shotgun in hand. He thought we were all dead. I mean, based on the news
No shit.
reports.
Holy
And
shit.
so, anyways, long story. Happy to be involved, and very fortunate to be able to partner up with Howard Dunn, and also Gabe Atkinson is really what spearheaded that
Yeah.
connection. He called me up Thursday after I went through. Hey man, these guys need some help. They're right down the street, because no one really knew what happened with the tornadoes and how
None of us
impactful.
expected that.
No,
Like
no,
that was
no,
we
not
were
at all.
all blind.
So we
we
just
were
jumped-
sitting in my garage drinking Busch Lights, and we're like, "What
Everybody
the hell is
was
going
in
on?"
their garage.
Like we're
I
just
thought you
hanging
were
out, and
saying
we're like, all of a sudden these tornadoes ripping through, and we're like,
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
So what can we do? We have
Right.
a pretty good reach from an awareness standpoint. Say, what do we have coming up? We have Oktoberfest this weekend. Hey Howard, let's drop. You have a gigantic trailer. Let's drop it all and fill it with donations.
And just the
So we did a
realization of
campaign.
that for you guys
Yeah, we
was
just
just
campaigned it.
amazing.
We filled up like 2 trucks that day, got it out to everybody. It was gone by end of day Sunday, and they're continuing that effort too, because it's important for us to remind people that these people are still suffering.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Weeks later.
Yeah.
It's not like
It doesn't
passed
end.
through. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's sorry to ramble on there, but I was just.
"Oh no!"
yeah.
I mean, it's just not and it's even with all the other stuff you guys do from Loggerhead and the other partnerships that you guys have out with the community. I mean, it's all
Thanks, Gabe.
it all ties in great with what you
Thanks,
guys
man.
shoot for and what you guys strive for.
Yeah,
It's,
they're the
to you
reason
guys for
we're
that.
here,
Yeah.
and we need to give that back, and that's bottom
Yeah.
line where it's at. And
Yeah.
to me, it's simple stuff, man. It's just
Right.
And I watch it on social media, just even the little posts, and they were reposts, obviously, between the 3 of you, and obviously Gabe, and just the Sailfish site as well. Got so many different views, and we're not talking just the silly like because you said something funny or the lightning strike.
There
or
was
anything like that.
there was
awesome, by the
which
way.
was
there
just
was a-
great.
That was amazing.
I mean, literally, I'll take it back to when the one guy came up and he was like, "Lightning Girl."
Hey,
And I'm
Lightning
like,
Girl.
Oh, man.
And I was just like,
How are you not that for Halloween?
Please
It's a tough
don't.
costume.
The screenshot of your
Yeah.
face, just like
I know. My
I mean,
assistant
I was-
screenshot it, and she was just like, "You look terrified." I was like, "Bro, it was right there."
I photoshopped it onto a bunch of stuff.
How about the dinosaurs?
Please make some
tornadoes?
shirts.
But speaking of like the effort though, I mean, getting that awareness out there for people, and just the reach that has. I mean, we had a woman drive down from Georgia just that Saturday to donate stuff.
Wow.
Because they went through something similar previous to that with Helene going through.
Right.
And she knew what people needed, and she drove down from Georgia that day. Shout out to whoever that was. You have beer for life on us, but it's that's where you make impacts, and
Right.
making people aware of what's going on. That's all we're trying to do.
yeah.
So.
We had a similar thing. We had a bunch of guys from on the Southern Eagle side drive up to
North Carolina.
North Carolina, and they brought some necessities and things like that. And I mean, it was just it was crazy hearing like some of the guys talking about it when they got back to the office, and talking with Shane and some of those other guys. Like they just got hit with a hurricane, and when they were there bringing these supplies up there, it was snowing.
Yeah.
So you got to think these people have no electricity, no power,
Right.
no nothing, and now it's snowing.
Yep.
Snowing?
It was
Yeah.
snowing.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Snowing.
Yeah, they were up in like Banner Elk area, I think, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
But just all the things that, I mean, it was amazing just when the word came out from Philip about, just
Yeah.
getting, hey, what can you do? It would be diapers or canned food and
Right.
that simple
No,
email.
I went to school up there
Yeah.
at State. I mean, in Boone. I mean, that's they were staying right down the street where you guys were there at.
Towns
Yeah,
are
it's
just
impressive.
washed away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy. All right, on to more fun stuff.
It's more fun. I mean, you can actually go back and forth of like, what do you feel are some of, the biggest successes, not only for you, but for the brewery? Like, you've accomplished this. That was that thing. What are your biggest successes?
Man.
And I'll ask it for you later on, just obviously in your beer tenure as well
Yeah.
as you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
For me is proactive planning. For the longest time, there's a lot of breweries out there still that are in that phase of make a bunch of beer and go sell it.
Okay.
Being able to project ahead and feed that information to the brewery here was probably the most critical things to improve things here from a just lifestyle aspect, like just knowing what the needs are.
So
you
from
know?
from a professional standpoint of just, you're not reactive any longer. You're now proactive. And
We're
you can
planned
see
out.
it. You've cleaned the slate now.
Kenny knows, Dave knows what is required every month
Right.
that we expect to sell.
Right.
And we're
Yeah.
very fortunate to have data to pull from to put those projections in place, and they know what the needs are.
And
so
a
they
great
can plan their
supplier
schedule.
relations manager too.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
and-
that's where it all boils down to.
And
But
They've had a few.
Dave's got it
Oh,
to the
God.
point where Dave's got it to the point where the projections are within a 98 percentile.
at least for Sunrise City, it was,
Yeah.
which is pretty critical. And
Yeah.
just to know that your hard work kind of pays off, that you're that close with it.
Right.
And
You guys
the
are spot
fact
on.
that like Dave and
Yep.
Kenny know months ahead of time what the needs are, so they can plan for their schedules, because there's so much tied into the actual production of the beer than actually packaging the beer. And,
Yeah.
and that symbiotic relationship of knowing what's coming over, what the package needs are, whether it's cans or kegs. That's been a big thing, and just being organized and being more professional and growing, and
Right.
not being stuck in that.
Not so much automation, but you've got your plan of action is actually taking hold.
Correct.
Right. Yeah.
And just, I don't know. I mean, for the longest time, I had so much trepidation and insecurity
Okay.
in this industry. My previous career is construction and development. That's all I did. And I come into this and just kept driving. But you're insecure because you're being told by so many different people how to do things.
Okay.
And you take that advice and you heed that advice and sometimes be led by that advice sometimes too. But I think a big changing point for me was to really just say, hey, I appreciate that information, but I'm going to go with my gut, and what's always gotten me where I need to be
Right.
is realizing that our success is built off relationships,
Yep.
and we're just going to keep doing the right thing all the time.
Yeah, it's not
And-
working at all. I mean,
Well, I mean, it's...
And throwing in consistency.
and
as
being
well.
consistent and all those different types of things associated with that, of the beer being the focus, and just not being distracted with people, and very fortunate now to have kind of overcome that insecurity now and feel more confident in what we're doing and being able to look ahead and plan ahead better. But it's tough when you're in something that you don't fully know, especially on the distribution side. That's the challenging part. Like,
now, do you think
don't-
that's time that's done that for you, or just you've gotten just
time,
every
but
pieces
also
in place?
immersion yourself in it though.
Okay.
I'm not sure how most other brewery owners do it, but I spend a lot of time in sales, because ultimately that's what our job is, to sell beer.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
And not only produce beer but sell beer. And I put myself out there a lot, and learn reality of like just how difficult it is. And that's taught me a lot of what makes sense, what doesn't make sense, and learning how to say no to things quickly that is not going to work.
I think it goes back to you knowing your identity as well.
Knowing who we are, identity-wise as well too. But I mean, I think just anybody out there, to your question earlier, Jamie, about what advice you would give to other breweries.
Yeah.
You really have to immerse yourself in all aspects of it, and distribution is the most challenging one to understand, and how to be effective. And I look back at where we've been successful at is where we spent time at to build relationships.
Okay.
On-premise wise, and that's benefited, to off-premise and everything else, and transcends. But just putting yourself out there and getting out there and working.
Right.
You have
Right.
to. I mean, that's the hardest thing we have to do is sell beer.
Oh, yeah.
And you have to get out there and understand. So when you're working with your sales team, and you're realistic for your expectations also. Like I know how hard it is. Like let's identify 10 accounts this month we
Right.
want to focus on versus 50. Let's focus on if we can land half of those 10, 5 of those count. That's a win in my opinion.
Yeah.
Right.
That's it. You know.
It just creates you're able to be consistent at that point. This is what we're able to lock in
Correct.
on.
We're not trying to we're not chasing everything. It's
Yeah.
it's very tempered of like, what can we actually accomplish?
Yeah. And
be
again,
effective.
we're not digging ditches. We're not making anybody cry.
Yeah.
Here's some beer.
Having realistic
We're
expectations and
providing
things like that.
We're providing fun.
Whose
Right,
job is
that's
it
our
to make
job.
someone cry?
Our job is to deliver fun. And
Right.
That's the bottom line what we're doing. It's
Exactly.
like-
I had a job
Exactly.
before where we use the term "if they cry, they buy." So let's just gotta throw that out there.
in the beer industry, or
No, not in the beer industry. Not in the beer industry at all. Now,
Although I know some companies that neither here nor there.
now
My favorite part is you're always like, oh, I know a certain place. I know a certain place, and I'm not gonna name them. Not gonna say it. But
Quick Weight
we
Loss
all
Center.
know. What'd you say?
Quick Weight Loss Center. I did that for 7 years, and if they cry, they buy. And yep, they're not business anymore. Suck it, nerds.
I think we could all really have a moment pull out our employer Rolodex and say,
Suck it,
nerds. Suck it, nerds.
Now, also, congratulations to you. We saw
yeah.
some Facebook posts.
Big congrats.
How many years now?
So started year 3 with Sailfish 2 days ago. Not the official hire date, but left the previous employer, and I always count that day at 4:59.
4:59.
My first beer because
Right.
it wasn't quite 5. No, it's this has really been
Cheers to that, Brian.
Yeah, for
I
real.
mean, that's
Cheers to you,
that's
my
awesome.
friend. Everybody,
Yeah.
the best.
back to the table.
No, really. I mean, I've had the time of my life. You know, it's I'm
Don't cry, Dave.
no. I
Doing good. You're doing good.
I lean on the I lean on.
Or should I say don't cry?
No,
Brian.
no, no.
He's like, I'm
Brian's
not leaving
fine.
today until someone cries.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to get people to buy.
Sell by.
No, I lean very positive. I can find every silver lining. You know what I'm saying?
You
And,
absolutely can.
And
yeah.
I've been in some situations where like it was effort to do that. You know, it was really like a real effort. You know, and I've not had that. Like every day has been incredible, and we have had challenges. Don't get it twisted, but I mean, this team is really incredible.
Don't get it twisted, get it hard.
Yeah.
And I do
Giggity.
want to say, your brother at Oktoberfest was like, man, it's a long story. But not really.
No.
Well, we don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Your brother had come up at Oktoberfest, and he was like, man, this is the first place my brother has worked where I have not wanted to fight the owner.
Yeah.
He was like, literally, he's like, I love that guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what would you say? What would you say is your biggest success in the time you've been here? Like that, this is it.
So got a couple.
That goes on the
actually.
resume.
Yeah, I'm so proud of the work, all the work that we've done. But 2 really big things come to mind: launching 12 packs for a brewery
Yeah.
our size.
I got like the 3rd one off the line or the 4th one off the line.
Oh, yeah.
You did, yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's
It was
without question.
dope.
That was like exactly 1 year
Right,
ago,
a year
right?
ago today.
One
Yeah.
year ago. We got the first
They're,
one.
they're
The
all
first one.
packed by hand.
Yeah.
They're, the boxes are
We all got paper cuts.
Thanks,
right.
Kenny.
No,
Literally.
we're sealing the boxes
Things.
ourselves. We're loading the pallets. We're doing all of that stuff by hand. And to see it go out the door, and then 3 days later at my Publix,
Yeah.
I mean, you get excited about that because that doesn't happen to a brewery our size, right?
Can I take a moment to talk about how, just since it's your 3-year anniversary, can we talk about yours and Dave's first date, if you will?
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah.
Because it's my favorite thing, because I'm sitting here like trying to get them 2 together, and I'm like, Dave, you gotta
Does
get
this
Brian.
end in like a big spoon, little spoon thing? Or
I mean, no.
How do we get
It's
dates with
literally
Dave?
your
It was-
first-
Can we all get
It was
dates
straight
with
up.
Dave?
It was straight up rom com. It was rom com. It was almost like a Hallmark
It
movie.
was literally
Yeah.
like
Christmas
exactly
Hallmark
that.
movie?
Yes.
And it's hysterical because like Brian's my buddy, Dave and I, obviously, and I'm like, you got to get Brian, you got to talk, and I'm over here trying to get Brian away from our previous wholesaler. I'm like, man, you're too good. You know it. We all know it. Get out.
And Brian's also like this unicorn, and like
Yes.
he'll never work for us. Like it's just like
Yes.
that was my mentality. Like, all right, very fortunate that
that's
he
a
agreed
level
to.
I'd like to get to. That's pretty
yeah.
awesome.
He agreed to meet me for lunch, and you were still working at previous
I was
employer.
Yeah.
really trying to peer pressure both of them, like reach out, just reach out to each other.
Right.
It was like a first date situation. I'm like, just text him, girl.
So we met at the Cooper off PGA.
Yeah,
And,
which I thought was a safe spot, but like,
yeah.
yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah, no, it
And,
worked out. Yeah,
Yeah, we had lunch, and it was supposed to be an hour and a half, turned into 3 hours.
just like 6 hours.
Yeah, and yeah, we talked a little bit everything, just
Yeah.
BS'd, and then at the end of it, I was like, all right, well, it was like, do we kiss now? Or like,
No,
what
well,
do
it
we-
was one of the, Dave's like, yeah, because I really, I'm trying to take over. Like, I really want this upcoming year to be really like off-premise focused. And like, I go, well, I've been spending a lot of time in off-premise.
You're
last
like,
year.
I know a
right?
guy.
Go, yeah, and I want to start implementing more programs. I have a whole program list right here. And
Here are
it was
the
just,
people I
it,
know.
it was just
there was something. Yeah, so we finished that lunch,
Yeah.
and you asked me for something afterwards, right?
Yeah, it was a total,
You're
like.
still thinking about
Oh
it.
no! Because
Is it like an OnlyFans thing?
No, because honestly, it sounds like you're courting like in high school. That's what
Yeah,
it. That's
I
what
know.
it. That's what it was. I was like,
Get
can
there,
can-
Brian. Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
do you guys do pulse? Do you do
like-
like a pulsing pricing? And if you do, can I see what your Q3 pulsing pricing looks like? And Dave sends back. That's more of a second date.
And then
Or a
Dave
second
says,
date.
sell me this pen.
Yeah.
Literally came home like 3 years ago, and I was like, how'd it go? Like so excited because like couldn't think of a perfect match, if you will, like little Miss Me, just trying to be like matchmaker in heaven. And he was like, I don't know, like just very nervous, like first date, post vibes of like, I don't know how it
No,
went. I'm
I-
like, you spent 3 hours together and you don't know how it went? Like what?
No.
And it was unfolding for the second date. So
Well,
it was
and then
it
I
was
made
cute to watch.
Then I told my previous employer, it's like I had to take a I never took time off, so
I know how that is.
I have to take a personal day and like shut my phone off. And I was laptopping with Dave like we do now, just ba.
Doo-doo-doo.
Yeah, and like, hey, that thing you were talking about, I'd be great at it.
I might be.
And here we are,
I
Yeah.
might be your girl for that.
going on to year 3.
No, it's been awesome.
yeah.
That's cool.
So 12 packs for sure.
I knew you were going to say it.
Ballpark of the Palm Beaches.
Oh, yeah.
What an incredible 2 years it's
Yeah,
been.
Ryan is Mr. Mr. Baseball.
Yeah.
I mean, the amount of beer that I don't want to say on the podcast, but I'll just say that it's you don't typically see from year 1 to year 2 a 400% increase from a year that was a 200% increase, right?
Right.
And it's only, I mean, this is technically our last contract year at the ballpark, so we're gonna go really big. But I'm so proud of our work there. I'm so proud of that bar. And I'm so proud of all the relationships that we have in there. From the walking vendors to the food and beverage director, the previous vendor relations, Mike McAdams, greatest guy in the world. I've thrown out the goddamn opening pitch twice.
That's
I
awesome.
bounced
And you
one.
made it.
I bounced one and I threw a
Wow.
strike on the other.
You didn't have to call
Yeah.
yourself out.
Which did you
Sorry,
first?
was that Gabe? You know, beer?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm
Okay.
good.
Sorry, we're good. Yeah.
Good.
Mike,
Good.
why is nobody drinking?
I'm
I know
still,
why
I'm
you're
still
not.
recovering.
Mike, I was about to drink your beer a minute ago.
Yeah, no, I've been milking this one.
You're nursing it. You need a nipple?
Fine. Let's just all finish these and get Gabe to get new ones.
I
We can do that,
I like
right?
where Jamie's at.
All right. So
Gabe, we'll do another
Oh,
round.
I love you. I'm getting the square root of beer. Water.
Gabe, what are we having?
I'm having liquid death. The square root of beer.
I'm just in a bad place since I
Mountain
broke the
spring
seal.
water.
So it's
You can take a pee break.
Oh, I can take a pee break?
It's right over there.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know it
called
was
pee
allowed.
break.
I didn't know if it was, like, frowned upon or
No,
not.
I called pee break on the last podcast. So
Oh, okay.
pass
Yeah.
me them headphones.
Here you go.
Don't
Here's
worry.
the headphones.
pass
I'll
me
hold
them
your-
headphones,
I'll
y'all.
do that.
I'll hold your spot.
Ding, 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 ding,
Oh.
ding, ding,
She's
ding, ding.
back.
Pass me them headphones.
Y'all.
And then just to complete that one, Hazy launch last year.
Yeah.
Oh man, like,
Impressive.
and that was a lot of people said, oh well, you just made that beer yesterday. That was legit 6 months of planning to get to that moment, so that when we're all at Blue Point, that was the coolest thing in the world, where you guys were already there, drinking those hazies, and then
Lots and lots.
yeah, and then
Lots of haze.
That was a fun event.
then to see that beer in Publix, and then to see it at Loggerhead
No,
from
it
Turtle
was
Fest.
it was somewhat emotional walking up to the Blue Point release party
yeah,
because the effort Southern Eagle put on to prepare for that.
right.
And seeing the flyers there, we had Loggerhead there, Andy and the entire team were there. That was because that wasn't 6 months, that was 12 months of planning.
Yeah.
To launch that, and Yeah, this is amazing.
But also the kudos to you guys of what you're able to teach us, and that's one of the things that as an account manager, somebody that goes into all these accounts each day. And I don't want to speak for Mike or anybody, but I know you guys have done the same. Is you've armed us with information, and there's a story to it.
Right.
I mean, again, I don't make people cry, and I don't dig ditches. I'm going to tell you about something, and then I can tell you about the beer as well.
Right.
And I now have something for this, and it's just finding, not only finding that niche, but why that's going to work. Let me tell you why it is. I can go from the charitable aspect to how the beer is made, why the beer is made, and so on and so forth. And now the fact that you guys have graduated that, the name of it to the Loggerhead Hazy, which I absolutely love.
Yeah, a beer needs a name.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it was like so funny. It was like Abbott and Costello when we first launched. That was the one thing I took away from our launch. That was the one note I had. It's like, people want this beer to have a name. Because it's like, oh, you got to try our new Hazy IPA.
Gotta have a name.
What's it called? Hazy IPA. And it's called Hazy IPA.
I love that.
That's supposed to be
But
funny.
I think we went back and forth
I kind of
for
got
so
where
long.
you were going. I just didn't find it funny.
Can't win
Same
them all.
way as, or the same way that he didn't find old Greg funny at all.
I found it funny.
Brian didn't.
Oh,
Not
yeah.
you.
Oh, yeah, it's just
Brian
Brian.
was just like,
I
ew.
still, no, I know what it
He was
is, and I've
gagged
seen
out.
it.
He
But
gagged.
I didn't
Like a little girl. Gagged.
I didn't know
He
that.
gagged?
I didn't know such
gagged.
thing of
He
the
said,
sort.
"Oh, Greg."
Was there a little vom there?
I mean, there may have been. He hit it very well.
No, I didn't. I don't think I found it at all.
Excuse me.
I think I was very proud of you. I think I said that you did a very good
Well,
job.
you know me, not taking
Thank you,
compliments and pride very well. And
Yeah.
people saying good job, I'm like, ugh.
No, it was the makeup was impressive.
It was.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, there was no
Whoa.
lightning strike in the background with you freaking out, but it was awesome.
Thanks, Gabe.
thanks, Gabe.
And we've come full circle. So, as you looked at not only your successes, what would you say would be, let's not say failures, but pitfalls along the way? And we're talking like from year one or from month 7.
Right.
As you've gone through. What?
Yeah, there's a lot of
Distractions, really.
Yeah, it's
Way to put it.
we signed with every wholesaler in the state pretty quick.
Right.
Mistake. We should have doubled back and grew grew our own base.
Go back to that do 3 things correctly type of thing that Mike was saying.
That was not the best thing for us to do. We've chased some trends, and that's 100% on me.
Right.
Just not being confident enough in who we are at the time, and being maybe coerced into doing something we probably shouldn't do.
Is it hard to have someone? Is it hard for someone to change your mind? Like if
It
you
is
wanted
now.
to do something, is it hard for someone to change your mind once you got it set?
Well, once I decide I'm going to do something, it's going to happen.
Okay.
And that's the
Yeah.
thing. But I would say I think about things a lot more pragmatically, and a lot of I love to hear what he has to say. So I'm very much like, here's this idea, guys. What does everybody think? And light tackle is a good example of that. We went back and forth light tackle so many times.
Right.
And Emily, Brian, Kenny, Dave, Taylor, Gabe, like, guys, does this align with our identity?
Okay.
And we went back on that a lot, and that from pretty much this entire year. And ultimately, realized that it does align with our identity and
Oh, yeah.
where we want to go.
Yeah.
But at the time, it didn't. It was very much like, are we chasing something that's unattainable here? And are we doing something that doesn't make sense for us?
Do you find that you're more open to discussion before the final nail?
Oh no, 100%. I will listen to
You were
everybody,
before?
and that's probably to a
Has that
fault.
changed though?
No, I always listen to everybody.
Okay.
To a fault sometimes, but I listen to everybody and take their considerations in. And trust me, there's a period of time where paralysis by analysis
Yeah.
got me. Where
Yeah.
you're
Just
constantly
way too much information. You're just staring at the same
analyzing
board.
it, you're second guessing everything, but you really have to break it down and establish what are you trying to do, and can it be done? Does it align with our identity,
Yeah.
our brand, and does it work for a wholesaler?
Right.
And that's honestly the last one's a big part of it. Does it work for a wholesaler? And bottom line, it's up to us to grow something. If we want to make it happen, we need to make it happen.
Right.
Just like Hazy. I
Yeah.
mean, Hazy just launched in March. We still got a lot of room to grow with that.
Absolutely.
And we need to do that. It's our job to grow our brand. And it's very fortunate that we have great partners like Southern Eagle to allow us to do that and support us and be that partner to collaborate and
Provide insight.
provide insight. And, and that's a great point Brian brings up there, is because we're all in sales all the time.
Right.
When it gets down to like conversations with your partners, take your sales hat off. Let's have a real conversation.
Yeah. Right.
I would much rather you tell me the truth for anything versus trying to like make me happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me the truth.
Right.
If you don't think it makes sense, that's fine. Tell me the goddamn truth, because I love that. I want to take that feedback and like put it into the analysis that's going on in my head. You know, like I want the feedback.
Right.
It's got to make sense for everybody.
Do you find that it's because of your tenure that you are like if a newer brewery that's opened up, not picking anybody in particular or any brewery in particular, that you become more open-minded and maybe you weren't before, or you know?
No, I think as from a principal aspect, I am who I am, and I haven't stayed that way. But you do evolve and change based on what you're exposed to, and you know, the more you learn, and the more you become educated in something, the better you can make decisions on things as well too. And you have to get out there and work. Like I said earlier, you have to get out there and see what it's like to actually sell something.
Yeah.
Well, until you do that, you have no idea. I mean, so many of these companies make these boardroom decisions, and they high five on the board. This is going to be great,
Right.
guys. None of you motherfuckers have sold a damn thing in your entire life.
Yep.
Get out there and sell it first. Understand the pulse point of your consumer.
Oh, yeah.
Have the pulse of your consumer is so important.
Yep.
And that's why I still love doing beer fests and everything like that, because you
You
gotta know
learn.
what's going on.
I mean, this industry is so liquid.
Oh,
Like, you know,
100%.
what's in today will be gone in 6 months.
Right.
You know, or everything has a timer on it. You know, like we talked earlier about the RTDs and this and that, and like you never know what's going to be next. You
Right.
know, it's
Just styles in general.
Yeah,
I mean,
styles.
Like,
and
what was popular? We've been talking about beers that were the biggest thing 4 years ago, 5 years ago, and 6 years ago, and you'll go, oh shit, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Used to
but-
drink that, and not that they were bad. Not
And
that they,
everybody learns too. Even like, you know, the retailers, they learn like, hey, we gave a bunch of more shelf space to seltzers.
right.
Well,
Right.
the seltzer category is continuing to cannibalize itself. Let's
Absolutely
cut that
has.
back
yeah.
a little bit. Focus on things that make sense.
Yeah.
Focus on the local aspect of things. There's a lot of positives, and this goes back to just people learning. I mean, you're so reactionary sometimes, and Florida being so at its infancy of like being exposed to these things, everybody's learning,
Right.
And you have to kind of roll with that. A
But
little
there's
bit,
2
too.
points that you can learn from now, and I was listening to I've listened to all the podcasts. Yes, I have. Is that people are now recognizing or
Kiss
have
ass.
grown. I am totally kissing your ass because you are the star of this on Emily's podcast here.
Oh, far
But
from it.
you know, people are recognizing styles that they like more now. I mean, I always have to say like the term IPA. It's a beer word.
Yeah.
Like, I can say IPA and I will get one, and I know what that tastes like. Well, clearly we all know, just being in the industry, that there's 4,300 different types of styles of IPAs.
But craft breweries own that category.
right.
Yes.
That is the category we thrive in. That is
Exactly,
our
correct.
light lager. That is our category we thrive in.
But people recognize what they liked before and have grown. I mean, I go for myself of I like this and it was lighter. Why? Because I came from a quantity beer standpoint before to I think I like the taste of beer.
Appreciation.
To appreciation of this, and that grew into something else. And we'll talk about that a little later as I go through. But I like this more now than I did before. But again, I'm going back to the Busch lattes in your garage, and
Right.
I will drink
Imagine if Busch
310
had
of them.
an IPA.
The
Am I
what?
grabbing it?
Yeah, but that's also an identity thing too.
Yeah.
Well,
They
it's
do
a
what they are.
breed,
Yeah.
and like you build your.
It's kind of like if we made a hard tea.
Brian, I swear to God, I'm gonna
there-
jump
Come
across
on,
this
Brian.
table and slug you.
I mean,
too soon, Brian,
There might
too
not
soon.
be that,
Too soon.
3
You
or
danced
4
around
day.
it. I wasn't going to go there.
We were not going there. We were going
Like,
to wait for
we
I
thought
would
about it.
go there
It's gonna happen
often,
organically.
but
I
So,
do.
I know.
Jamie, one of the mistakes,
Sir.
hard tea. And that was not for lack of effort.
Not at all.
The marketing plan, working with you guys on that,
Yep.
amazing. Go to market strategy, goddamn amazing. I mean, Ryan Piscopo and Steve, the whole team. Mike
And
Weiss,
then just
they
even finding
killed
those
it.
grassroots accounts that we're going to be behind that,
But-
to follow suit.
But Poulter did a Poulter, had
Right.
zero Poulter, and that's our fault for not doing that properly. You guys can go to market with anything. You can execute a plan. It's our job to provide the runway for that. Like,
And-
how does this launch?
But I mean, you even look at the teas though, and like where they are now. Like you guys were, you can argue that you guys were even a little bit ahead of
Oh, for
the
sure,
curve,
yeah.
because now seeing all the Sun Cruisers, the Surfsides,
But
and everyone wants
to your point
flat
earlier,
and all that kind of stuff. It's
it was a malt based, and that
Right,
was
yeah,
the
yeah.
difference as well too.
right.
Carbonated.
Carbonated, and
Yeah.
we
No,
were doing something
yeah.
that we thought we liked, and I don't like sweet tea, and we made a very non-sweet carbonated tea that I actually liked.
Right.
Not most people don't like that. They want a sugary.
But there's
thing.
there's something to be said for. I'm sorry. There's something to be said for the first through the wall.
Right.
Is you are going to get damage. I mean, we remember it just with seltzer, the first RTDs that were doing alcohol. And
Oh, yeah,
such.
with
We
pork-
literally had to go
pork
to
and all that
accounts
kind of
with
stuff. Yeah.
we went to accounts with something on our iPads that was the legal definition of why an account can have this, and it had
Yeah.
alcohol in it for their 2COP
Right.
license. For what
Right.
it's worth, you have to have the different alcohol licenses. But we had to go to play. They didn't believe us.
Yeah.
But that I believe that product is dead. It had to die for neutral and high noons and things like that to
Right.
thrive.
It's a great point. You're
Yeah.
exposing people to something they don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
So like, how do
Yes.
you? And again, it goes back to craft beer. Like I always say, White Marlin was the gateway drug to craft beer in
Right. I
Treasure
was
Coast.
getting that. Yeah.
We're the first brewer in Treasure Coast. What was the first beer people gravitated towards? White Marlin.
Right.
Sessionable, that's nice style wheat beer. It's everything Blue Moon, which it was, and it
I like
worked
that.
for a lot of people.
Yep.
And to this day, the Treasure Coast specifically still thinks White Marlin's our number one selling beer.
If you and if you
And-
look at our breakdown county by county, Palm Beach County, Sunrise. You get Martin County, Indian River County. It's White Marlin.
You're welcome.
Way up there. Yeah. No.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
No, but it's just
The
yeah,
ego is
to your
huge.
to your point, educating people on something, and that's some time.
Yeah.
I mean, that was just doing the beer fest we talked about. All those things, getting people exposed to something that they're not used to. Because
Yeah.
like the negative moniker craft beer has to so many people, immediately say, "I can't drink craft beer."
It's a critique industry.
Yeah.
Like, whatever you make, is someone else is going to hate, someone else is going to love. It's no, and that's just how it is.
Yeah,
And
it's a tough thing to balance too. And not to
Right.
interrupt you, Mike, like Karen
No,
jumping
yeah.
off on there is like we're at this weird stage now. We're a very highly organized production brewery. We also have 2 great tap rooms, and we have
Oh, yeah.
and 4
Yeah.
beers. We have 20 different beers on draft all the time. But sometimes that's not enough. You have to always be coming out with something new.
Right.
Yep.
We've done over 500 beers since we started the brewery, different beers. And Dave Cavassini, our head brewer, has been with me for 9 years now. He's the reason our beer is what it is, and him and Kenny. Dave teased it up. Kenny kind of finished it more or less. He had a great analogy the other day where he made some new beer. It was like a double IPA or something like that, and the consumer, the guy was drinking the beer, and said, "Hey, you got anything new coming out?" Yeah, dude, you're drinking it. Like,
I think I know who you're talking about on there.
but like,
It's HM.
again, going back,
Great guy.
not HM actually, but it
Oh,
was
okay.
this, but it's
Hi,
just,
HM.
you're trying to, you can't try and be everybody. You have to
Right.
be
Yes.
what's, do what's right for you first.
Right.
And then that's it. Don't
Yeah.
change that.
But
I mean,
right.
you got to keep progressing in some way.
No,
Even
for
if it
sure.
doesn't work out,
Yeah.
you still got to keep putting all that shit out there that people are like. I mean, it's like you think about like Hidden Springs, right? Like sidebar-ish topic, but just how people used to line up outside of breweries for a 16-ounce 4-pack and pay $25 for a 16-ounce 4-pack. Like for sours, all these crazy things with crazy labels, what have you, and those days are kind of different, but the one thing they stuck to was their identity, and I
Yeah.
feel like for us, like that is one
Take
thing
me
we've
back
still
to
And
the
you've done that,
Bombers.
and that's why
We've
I
never-
miss Bombers.
we've never
Bombers.
been that.
Bombers.
Oh no,
Yeah.
for sure. We've never been
It
that
was
high.
fun.
What's bombers?
22-ounce bottles.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We have
Oh,
those
no, I
here. Our
thought-
Stargazer series was those.
the
Yeah.
little Coors bullets? I call them bullets.
No, the bigger
No,
bubbles,
these.
like the champagne
Yeah.
bubbles.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. No,
Yeah.
I'm thinking
Yeah.
of the little.
Our Stargazer sour
the
series.
red stripe bottles.
Yeah.
is
No,
what I like.
no.
But
those
yeah,
are-
we've never
I
been
love
that
those.
hype brewery. Not
Yeah.
not by design, but we just stuck to making beer flavor beer as our focus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
Right.
made some other great beers too. I mean, we do our Oreo stout. I mean, there's a lot of awesome beers we do out there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That are tap room only. But sorry, I point that I really spaced out there, but
We saw it happen, actually. I saw
yeah,
it here.
it glazed over. Like,
It was
kinda
very
washed
Will Ferrell from Old
Did
School.
you catch that as well?
I just blacked out for a minute. What happened?
But,
Where am I?
but so much of it is, it's that's not a bad thing though.
Right.
And sorry, my point was, so when Paul and Shane came back from Treasure Coast Beer Fest Saturday, Paul said it to me 3 times.
Yeah.
He's like, man, it was so great because people are trying different beers. They have some good beers, some bad beers, to each their own. But they kept coming back to our tent because they knew our beer was always good.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's consistency. And,
Yes.
and I will say this when we started the brewery, our job is to establish trust.
Yeah.
And that's through consistency and reliability.
Once it leaves
That's
this
a
back
hard
door,
thing to do.
your reputation is on the line.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, you talked about having how many different types of beers?
Oh, we've done over 500 different styles in the brewery, yeah.
So if you were to go with a one-word statement after I list off some beers from the past, we're talking the deep past, or at least what I can hope is a deep past, because there's absolutely no information online
We're all
about you.
scratching. I'm like, here we go.
Like, what would, what's the one word? And then, maybe just kind of go into that. So if I talked about Cobra Brown,
Okay.
okay? Now, that's, from what I gathered, that
Magnum.
beer is old,
That's old, yeah.
it's over 9 years old. I know that.
Yep.
So what comes
That's
to
Little
mind?
House.
What's the one word of that?
Everything that had to do with the little yellow house.
Okay.
And
So Little Yellow House.
little yellow house.
One word, Dave.
Yeah.
No, that's fine. I get where you're going.
Yellow.
Okay. Now they can't be for anything else. So, like, what comes to mind when I say Schoolie Red?
Yellow.
No, you can't do it again. Like, why is it something you're not making now? Why is Schoolie Red not White Marlin? You know what I mean? Like, in the sense of you had White Marlin.
That's
then.
honestly a fantastic question.
Timing.
Timing, consistency, be able to do something the same thing every
Right.
time. We found with White Marlin, it works. We
Right.
had it with Natalie's, still do.
Shout out Natalie's.
Yeah, shout out Natalie's.
love it.
And, they, we started off, again, going to the hyper-local, community focused. Everything we did was named after something local here.
Right,
and it
right.
still is, for the most part. I mean, Sunrise City is a goddamn nickname of Fort Pierce.
Yep.
It's, and fishing related, Mullet Run Mild,
Oh,
which
yeah.
is honestly still one of my favorite beers. No one drinks it, but I fucking love it.
That's
just
a beer that crushes at Beer Fest.
an English mild.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
just,
do remember that.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
that
I don't
mild is
like it.
amazing. What's that?
I don't like it.
I don't like it.
All right, well,
I don't like it.
I don't like
Continue
that way
to-
of like
Continue to speak,
just
sir.
meaning it again like that.
try and have a boot.
Maybe that's what I'm missing. I don't dislike it. Rephrase. I
We
don't
can
dislike
pour
I
it
don't like
into
the
a crock
style.
boot for you.
It's
Yeah,
just
there's
style.
but to your point though, there's I would love to say there's a rhyme and reason and scientific design of why we have ended up what we have.
Right.
There isn't. It is just happenstance, and you keep doing these different beers, and
Right.
White Marlin stuck.
Okay.
Just like Sunrise City stuck and Tag Release stuck. Like these are beers we could confidently do the same every time, and people love them.
What do you think of when I say Midas Fish Saison?
Oh man!
Don't say Yellow House.
No, it's
Green.
Creed?
The
green?
Ice
or
cream
Creed?
sandwich.
Just a different color.
Oh, I thought you said Creed. I was like,
Yeah.
oh,
Like,
man.
tell me more.
Take me back.
We can take him higher.
So
We can.
you talk about like trends, right? And like
Yeah.
saisons were
Oh, yeah.
a thing for a little while.
Oh, yeah.
And again,
For
this
a
is
month
like
or two.
yeah, so we're sours.
And now there's 75 of them. And here's some hard tea.
It's a tough thing, and we've become so data driven of what makes sense to sell. That's a lot of it. It's just like you want to put all these beers out there. I mean, for a while back when we were with Brown still, we would send a pallet of Slims of Sour down to Laz down in Miami.
Oh, yeah?
once a month.
Iguana sauce?
Iguana sauce.
I love
sour sour.
iguana sauce.
Love
And,
iguana
and that was
sauce.
like the perfect formula. Like
Yep.
Yep.
20 Slims, cool man. Do what
Yep.
you want to with it.
And you can
It
do
kept
whatever
us
you
cool
want
in
with it.
Winwood and stuff. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it was like it was very fortunate at that time with Brown to have that flexibility to do that kind of stuff, and working with Laz and
Yep.
and that team down there, like Mike and the rest of the guys, that Mike Johnson and
Yep.
Andrew Sims.
Andrew Sims, like
Lost Boys.
just that.
They were a good group of guys.
I will
we
say
met
this.
we didn't interact with them a lot.
I didn't
when
have
we
the
were
same
around.
tenure that Tonneson had or even Emily had with the exposure to that team, but that Brown team, the craft team you guys had down south, and the craft team in the Treasure Coast, you guys stood out, for lack of a better term, and
Yeah.
you guys done fucking worked, man. I mean, you guys sold.
Yeah.
We had.
And-
If we didn't,
That's all we had.
Yeah,
Did
like
you guys
no,
see
it-
where the Mario Kart Racing Brewery thing is happening again at
10th Lover Tavern. Yeah.
Yes.
You're talking about the inaugural champion of that with Due South. Yeah.
Bang. Okay, so I must have followed your shoes, but went in for Due
Follow
South
your
and being a
shoes?
Mario Kart girl, I
Crocs.
was ready for it. And of course, who was my opponent? Pre everything. Was
Was it me?
Sailfish. Yeah, it was you.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. To a gun identity. I felt so out of place with those things. Like I don't belong here. Like not anybody's fault, but I just
Right.
don't
No, I-
fit in here.
I
Like
would have,
Yeah.
no,
This year.
when I went to it, I brought Troy or Sellerman from Due South because he was like 22.
Troy.
Yeah, and
Troy,
like
yeah.
I was like 30 something, and I'm like, yeah,
Sorry.
I'm too old for this shit.
Yeah.
Like I really like I never felt older in my life than like flashing lights and Nintendo 64. I'm like, all right, well,
it brings
yeah.
back an interesting
Yes.
culture for sure.
What's that?
And
Yeah.
it brings back an interesting culture, and it's like not that you outgrow certain things, but as you get older, you definitely feel immersed back in those things where you're just like
Nostalgia?
Yeah.
We're all kids.
And
We're all
doing-
kids at heart.
And doing those things too,
Yeah.
and I'm so glad and honestly, Emma was a big catalyst for me doing a lot of kind of stuff because
Okay.
she brought me out of my shell for a lot of things. But being exposed to that just teaches you so much.
yeah.
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 Helps you refine your identity.
Yeah.
I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
But I was like back to making events fun again.
I like that idea.
Oh.
Like I missed.
Oh,
I
yeah.
know Mike's a big
I wanna do
proponent
events
of,
as
like,
much as
just
possible.
Fun
Fun.
events.
Fun.
Just
Like, I mean, we said
make
it earlier.
fun.
But
We
you know, back,
sell
different.
fun. That's our
when-
job.
Back
Like
when
we
Brown
provide
had,
the fun.
had that Miami, craft focus for Delray South.
Yeah.
You know, going back to Key West, like we used to do some fun stuff down there.
Yeah.
For Beer Fest. Like now
That
it's
was
like
Oh, yeah.
it's not even worth the hassle. It's like
It's not.
I'm not even gonna run through the whole set. What do you want, man? I'm just gonna bring it down to you. Like it's just like it's not
Yeah.
the same.
There used to be
No,
cannonball parties
I-
at different hotels.
I was in
There
that
used to
second
be-
generation after they launched Miami.
Yeah.
My first sales route was Coconut Grove, Doral, Coral Gables, and I have to tell you, like, walking into an account like, hey, this keg of Dale's Pale Ale is $65. They go, get the out of here. What are the bottles? I go, well, it's actually cans. And they went, oh, get out of here. You're not selling a case of cans for $27, you lunatic. And now, like, that's everything.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
$65 Slims at Dale's, and they were turning them down. It was like,
It's just changed
That's
so much,
preposterous.
and that's what's crazy about
I
it.
sold a
is-
lot of Dales. I won a cruise.
I mean, just looking at your
It's
tenureship
fun
in the
winning things.
industry.
Yeah, it is.
And, you know, you were 5+ years before I came into it, and just hearing all your stories, and then just like even me, when I was like plopped dead into, you know, the Due South area, and I kind of follow your footsteps, right? And it was just like insane. It was wild, and it was so fun though. Like I
Yeah.
remember those beer fests. Oh my God, I wanted to work every single beer fest, every
yeah.
single event that we had. I wanted to do the total wine samplings. I wanted to do everything. I couldn't wait
Total
to tell
wine
the
samplings.
consumers, got to try Due South, and I couldn't wait to spread it. And now, like things, I mean, obviously we all know COVID changed a lot, but like
100%.
now
it did, yeah.
things are at this
100%.
like kind of stale point. And I talked to the guy putting on the Abacoa Brews and Beers and Burgers event, and we do that every year, and it's like one of the most fun ones. I think it's so much fun. And this year he's even adding, again, to make things different, adding that extra component of a burger cook-off.
Right.
And I think we can all sit here and say there's never enough food or water at Beer Fest. But
Never enough water.
Never
Or
enough water.
Tums.
And everyone, again, is just looking to get the drunk as they can
Right.
get in that $30, $40 ticket. But this time he's adding like a straight up burger cook-off for the best burger. And it's just the little tweaks in these events that make you want to go out and spend that extra whatever on the ticket. And yeah, that's my point.
I mean, and that's like going back to like where I kind of started in the beer industry was when I worked at the Crafted Keg.
Yeah.
And
That's right.
Yeah.
you know, a lot of like the stuff that we did there, and you know, Jamie knows. You know, I mean, his ass
Lots
to be
of events.
hanging out with me there
Oh,
until
yeah. It was-
you know,
it
9
was-
o'clock at night till we're
That was
closing.
my
It's like,
office.
We
You
used
know,
to
we
have
had
fun.
we would do just dumb shit. Like it
Yeah.
was, you know, hey, what do you want to do like this week? Let's do fucking Game of Thrones trivia. Like,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
and we had people lined up down the entire breezeway. We would
Yeah.
do our Rocktoberfest, our
Right.
you know,
Always jammed.
all that
Yep.
kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And
Now
it was
it's
just
got so
you know,
exhausting in the point of,
Right.
and just in the point of, to get these things done, it's turned into like almost not
It's
fuck
a
your
chore.
relation.
It's a chore.
It is. It
Right.
really is, because it's like, what can you do for me? What are you gonna
Well,
do for me? And everyone's trying to make that
That's
money
all
at
it
the end
is.
of the day.
What-
It's
right.
not
No fun.
traction,
What
but
I
it's
find
also
is
like,
it's a lot of squeeze and no juice.
yes.
right,
Because
right.
you know
exactly
what it
is.
that's what I look at.
Where it used to be
Go for it.
so fun. Again, like we could go to the tavern place, and sorry, it hasn't been my territory for a long time. And you could go there and you could be like, oh shit, we're just gonna shoot the shit and play some Mario Kart against all these other breweries. How fucking fun is that?
Right.
And I love that they're bringing that back. I absolutely love that. But like now you have these events that are just so stale in the way of you can't do the status quo anymore. You can't just say, here's a beer fest, thumbs up. You gotta add this layer that is, forget the consumer, but you look at all these beer fests, you look at all these events, and now you're seeing it where it used to be a point where the sales rep was the face of the brand. The sales rep was working every event.
Oh, yeah.
And now it's not anymore, where they're just like, here's some beer guys, like here's the brand ambassador, here's the wholesaler rep that has to work that event.
Yeah.
Where it's just kind of changed in this way of, again, just stale. And I so much look forward to the events that are bringing something different.
Here's the thing, because we're not nearly as promiscuous with beer as we used to be. And we
Right.
see that in Sailfish. I mean, you can see that Sunrise City's 12-packs are flying, okay?
Right.
Whereas 10 years ago, if we had like a grapefruit IPA, that would have been flying off the shelf, not a brand extension
Right.
of something
Right.
else. Yeah. And that's the thing. These beer fests it's the same stuff that you can get at Publix is
Right.
being featured at these things.
Right.
Yes.
And that's...
Yep.
That's not a bad thing, I don't say necessarily, and I also don't think that people
I think
are.
you need those beers.
Yeah.
You do.
You totally do. You
Yeah.
absolutely
Of
do. But here's 2 or 3 other things that
Correct.
you have to come to our house to get.
Right.
Right. I mean, can we
Yeah.
give
Yeah.
a little shout out to Oak Cat 3 and Oak 5? Like,
Oh, yeah.
I mean that in the sense of the first beer that I ever bought Dave was Oak Cat 3. And we had that at the porch.
Another man down.
I'm next.
Well, there's
But we had
lots of light tackles getting
the porch in Key West.
depleted. Some might
Oh,
say.
I miss the porch so much.
That was-
Who doesn't? I mean, who doesn't? And like, shout out to Abby for doing their best. But things change, obviously.
I was fortunate enough to be able to go to the Keys a couple, about a month ago?
Yeah, it was right around there.
About a month ago. And we're
Yeah.
just there's one day that we just had, there we go. We just had the golf
Oopsie.
carts, and we're just literally just perimetering
Yeah.
the entire thing. Stopping at this bar, stopping at that bar, stopping to get a rum runner real
Yeah.
quick and keep going. And every time we passed the restaurant that
Yeah.
we had dinner at, which was
Yeah.
a great dinner for all of us.
Everywhere.
But
There's
all
great
I
food
could
all
think
over
about
Key
was
West.
the porch.
Yeah.
And it was tiny and it was hot in there.
No, it felt like
It
there
was perfect.
It was a college guy's dorm room.
Yeah.
In one area, and then it
That's
was.
where Dave and I met, for
and
the
then
record.
Yeah, and then it was you like
How
like a
romantic.
1920s bar like in the next room over. It was.
Yep.
Yeah, I loved it. I loved it there.
But like, again, going back to those places that do have that nostalgia, and the porch was one of them. And
Yeah.
I mean, like, I mean, everybody gathered, and like all the reps, everybody was there. It was like this big reunion, and I remember straight up being like, Sturgis was like, hey, he was dancing, he was drunk, and he's like, hey, who are you with? And I'm like, hey, I'm with Due South, who are you with? And he's like, with Sailfish. Have you met our owner, our guy?
And then there's the meet cute.
Literally. He was like, have you met him? And I'm like, no, I've never heard of Sailfish, bro. And this was like, you know,
Liar, bro.
No, like literally 6 years ago, I had not heard of Sailfish. And at that point, you guys have been around for 6 years. And again, how long it takes to get traction and identity as a brewery to build a brand. And he was like, well, let me get you a beer. And I was like, got it, get me a beer. And then I just got the Due South credit card. I'm like, oh my God, I could do my first spin. And then he introduced me to Dave. He was like, let me introduce you to Sailfish's professional twerker. And I was like, all right,
That's
weird,
a very
but-
Mike Sturgis introduction.
Exactly. And you know Sturge, and
Twerker?
he's just twerker.
Yeah.
This guy right here.
When,
do we know
so-
him?
when do we get a demonstration?
When is there
Exactly.
is there like a video upcoming
No,
for this?
that's the point, is like, you know him.
Yeah.
Is
right.
he?
There's
You only
nothing
see
about
Dave
Dave that
dancing.
screams twerking.
Dave's whole move is this.
It's a good move.
It's
that-
just this.
that's your move?
And
It's
it's
very-
just this little.
it's very
he does
Patrick
a little
Swayze.
jiggle.
Very in.
Yeah.
No.
He does this little jiggle, and I'm like, all right, here we go. Here we go.
That's the
And-
hotness, sir. That's the
And
hotness.
Sturge introduced us, and like the first thing I was just like, I got Oak Cat 3 on tap, and I'm really excited about it.
conversation.
It's because you laughed.
Well, here's
Nostalgia at the porch.
Well, here's what I'll say. 10 years ago, I never felt like I was in competition with other beer suppliers, and certainly, the sales reps and things of that nature. But with everything being fractured, like everyone's a competitor now. right?
Yeah.
And when I was in distribution, like, yeah, obviously the other wholesaler's my competitor,
Right.
But I was having a beer with that guy at the end of the day.
We talk about it all the time.
Right.
There is a healthy and unhealthy competition.
Right.
There's plenty of conversations that he and I've had on our original podcast.
Which was a phone call.
That doesn't exist. But
for what it's worth,
in our
was,
heads it does.
I like the sense of competition.
Right.
But at the same time, I'm going to have a beer with that guy at the end of the day because we're both going to have the same thing. But I
Rising
will-
tides raise all ships.
Yeah.
Right.
And if we're all
Right.
successful and there's enough to carve out for that, and we are, there's the identity of the breweries and there's the identity of craft.
Right.
That's a tough thing, is
Right.
maintaining that identity of craft and getting people to stop doing the stupid stuff.
Right.
And hey guys, like, we're in this together. That's.
I mean, there's a
big part.
place for every beer, but every place doesn't need every beer.
Agreed.
And the other thing is, like, a lot of this shift happened when breweries were getting purchased by larger companies, doing consolidation, things of that nature. So we went from young, fun, craft beer, let's have fun, Traja love, rising tides lift all ships, to I now have a competitive strategy to snuff you out of the market.
Yeah.
Friend of mine, right? Like,
I've been there.
That's a real thing that happened. So I think, a large part of it got more competitive. The space shrunk significantly. And innovation wasn't really
and
paying off the way
you
it
have
used to.
breweries pricing things extremely low too sometimes, which
That's
is
a
like,
big
man,
one.
like, it's a race
yeah.
to the bottom, guys. Like,
Right.
we're in this together. Why do that?
Yeah, why would you
Like,
do that for just in beer?
Exactly.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
it's like, yeah,
Why?
yeah.
Why?
So let me ask
Well, it makes
everybody.
no sense.
Let me
Yeah.
ask everybody here this, because I don't agree with the assessment, but there's a huge thing saying that beer is dying, right? Or beer has lost ground. I don't think beer's going away.
You've
but
been
what-
reading too many beer business dailies.
Yeah, no, well, I mean, it's doom, gloom, destruction. I just want a little bit of insight of, like, what's happening. And they keep telling me that quit my job and run away and sell seltzers and do what everyone else is doing. And I'm like, screw that, dude. Like, beer is here. It's not going anywhere.
Right.
What do you guys see out there?
I mean, I think, like, kind of going back to Dave's point with, having these disruptor beers, like pricing their beers too low.
Right.
I think on the same token, you have on the opposite effect of a lot of some breweries overpricing their beers and things like that. So, you look at some of these breweries and things like that price their beers just astronomically high, and you get the consumers out there, that are out at some of the retail spaces, and they're like, I'm not going to get drunk off of this 4-pack of beer,
Right.
but I could get drunk off of a $22 bottle of Tito's.
Right.
Is this a point where we talk
Yeah.
about the price of beers being on a menu at like $79, where you're like, oh my god, this
Right,
is
and
airport beer pricing.
and I think on not even just on the off-premise side of the business, on the on-premise side of the business too. It's I think that beer needs to kind of find that healthy balance of
Right.
pricing and things like that again.
I'm at
Because
$6
like
$50 bill beers, and
Yeah.
that was like
Yeah.
a sweet spot of cocktails are 12, 13, 14 beyond dollars, no matter where you go. And it's like, you look at the ABV, you look at the people that are going out and they're like, okay, it's gonna take me 4 beers, 3 beers maybe to get drunk, or I can have 1 or 2 cocktails and get there quicker, kind of thing. And I
Right.
just think that we've
Well,
entered into a space.
the cocktail's a lot more elevated, too.
Yeah,
You know what
for
I
sure.
mean? Where it's getting a beer, it's that pint.
Yeah.
That's regular. Meanwhile, if I put fucking umbrella and a toucan and
But it's so many different things that you like.
toucan? Yeah,
What
you've
is
seen
the
it.
what is the person
No, you
trying to
haven't.
do? Like,
I'll have Fruit Loops and shit.
I on purpose always drink beer because I can control it.
That's what I like.
Yeah.
You know, to me, it's a very traditional type thing. Like, I want a beer.
Right.
What is that person trying to do? Are they trying to get drunk real quick? Are they trying to actually hang out for 5 hours?
And I
Some
don't
person
even
trying to
think
get
it's like a drunk thing. Like,
Yeah.
it's like you look at and I think this is the
It's a
the elevation of the THC industry and things like that. And, I mean, as much as, let's just call it, most of us probably at this table would have loved for, the most recent amendment to have passed for
Right.
recreational marijuana. I mean, ultimately that hurts all of us
Yeah.
because that younger consumer, that younger up and coming
Better for you
drinker,
category.
they're not they're exploring and they're doing things in different avenues outside of alcohol. Like, you know,
That's exactly
the days,
right.
the days of cake parties, the days of
Right.
like things like that, they are long fucking gone.
I'll never forget.
They're long gone.
I was at some
You know?
retailer trying to sell them hazy, and 4 kids walked in, pulled their money together, and they bought a bottle of bourbon.
Right.
Like,
Or
dude,
they'll put their money together and buy a little bag of weed, and they'll be high as shit for the rest of the night.
Right.
You know, and it's like,
Right.
and that's
And
it.
I was-
And that's
I was putting 4
Right.
quarter, a bunch of quarters on the table to buy a 24 pack of Busch Light in college,
right.
and that
Mine
was our
was-
elevated beer.
Mine was trying to get the
Yeah, that's when you
$6
don't want
bottle
Steel
of Burnett.
Reserve.
You wanted Boone's Farm. Don't lie to us.
No, so I mean, I think that was like kind of the previous generation, but mine was like, ours was the Burnett's generation, where every time they rolled out a new flavor, it was like, oh my god. And ours was Burnett's Lime because we could mix it with Sprite. So it was like less than $10, and I mean $10.
That's
for all of us to come
That's
together,
fun.
like 4 or 5 of us to come together and be like, this is it. And it's either like your
It's like a
$5
Taco Bell order.
My sister told me that they're to get into the clubs, it was like a $20 cover, and I'm like, how are kids affording to drink these
Have
days?
you-
Because it was like quarter
Right.
wells.
Have you ever seen that documentary on the Cleveland Indian Stadium where they did nickel beer night?
Yes.
Is that not the greatest thing in the world?
Yeah.
Because they're like, look, we can go spend $30 at the stadium, and that's a night at the club.
Is
And
Right.
sorry.
oh, go for it.
Is this where we, maybe talk about 75-cent wing night and pitcher night?
No, but there's something even to go back to your point of like, the conversation of beer being dead.
Right.
And worrying about it is there's an oversaturation, but it kind of pings to everything that we've talked about. There's so many things out there.
Right.
Do what you want to do, hone in on that, do it correctly.
Yeah.
The people will come, especially if you do something for the people.
And to your point, knowing the consumer,
Exactly.
and knowing
Yes.
the market you're in.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think where we're successful at, let's say Orlando down at Key West, every one of those areas is different.
Yeah.
And Palm Beach County, for example, that's 5 different areas within itself.
Yeah.
And
Right.
understand where you can be effective and where you can't.
Yeah.
That's okay though. It's just like Publix is. Like there's certain Publixes you want to be in, there's certain ones you don't want to be in.
But if you're in
Right.
that situation of I'm going to come to your house, or let's just look at like a mother-in-law coming to a house or something like that, and we know that Mike likes beer or you like beer, and it's auntie whoever standing in front of the public shelf of 8,742.
How does you pick?
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
and then
Oh.
it's I swear to God, did he say IPA
No, but then
or
it's
double
like,
IPA?
okay, Publix
you know?
does a Florida category. Okay, let me
Exactly.
drive something local. So that narrows it down
Right,
a little
right.
bit. That helps, but knowing how to be effective in areas
Right.
is so important. Like everything we talk about is so nationally driven, right?
Yep.
And that's why I
Yeah.
go back to
Right.
the Beer Business Daily aspect, which is a great publication, but it takes it from a national level.
Yep.
You understand your locality.
Yeah, what
Where
happens
can
in
you be
this
effective?
county?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing is like identifying where you can be effective. And that goes back to the hyper-local focus of
Right.
it all. Of like, where does it make sense for us to do things? And that's
There's-
it.
But to, even
Right.
to go back to it is talk about like the success of marketing or versus not, but it's also the sense of community. What you guys have done with your beer, or what others have done with their beer for their community and within their community, or what they've done just as a brewery for their community, having nothing to do with the beer.
No.
Why does that resonate when I go to Publix? Why does that resonate when I go next door for a beer?
You're trying to
For-
create that emotional connection.
Exactly.
There's a reason I want to buy this or this thing.
Right.
That's all we're trying to do.
I
And,
was,
and you guys have established yourselves in the marketplace, like with your core brands. Like those are your identity.
Yes.
Yep.
People go and they look at a public shelf, or they go and look at whatever bar or restaurant that they go to, and they know that they're going to get a consistent product. They know that what they're ordering and what they're getting.
We talk
It's gonna
about it.
be
But
a
that's
we
the
talk about
difference
it,
though,
quality
like,
product.
there's a difference between building a brand versus and establishing the brand as being reliable and trustworthy versus
Right.
one beer.
yeah.
A lot of breweries have to have the flash in the pan one beer. Where's your lifespan on that?
What is your identity?
Well, we
Right.
talked
You have
about
one
that
beer
last
and
What's,
like
what's number 2? What's your second album?
I want someone to buy a Sailfish because they know any Sailfish is
Right.
going to be good.
We
Yep.
we
That's
talk
it.
about
We
this
were
one all the
talking
time.
about this, yeah.
12-8 Buoy has 3 of our beers on tap. We're all just sitting there having lunch one day. A guy comes in and goes, "Oh, sweet, I'll have a Sailfish." I go, "Which one?" He goes, "You pick. I know it's going to be good."
Yeah, they're all
Like,
good.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean,
Right.
yeah.
And we were just
Doesn't
kind of having
matter
that
which one.
conversation last night in the sense of it goes obviously to identity, but it also like you can have a brewery that's known for one specific SKU, and then you go to that brewery and you try all their other beers, and it's not to say that the other beers aren't as good or what have you, but like it Okay, maybe I should just say
It doesn't
It's-
tell the story.
It doesn't,
adequately, yeah.
and that's where I think Sailfish absolutely separated itself, and that's why you align with the brand from a consumer, from a sales rep, from everything in between, the culture here and everything. We know our identity, and that identity is consistency. It's just good damn beer.
But once that
period.
relationship is built with the consumer, be it at
Right.
the store level or in your, in your house, when you do release something out in, for a special release, be it a Christmas beer, an Oktoberfest, or this, I trust you because I've had a Sunrise City every other day for the last 2 years, and it has tasted the same,
Yeah.
be it draft or can from this Publix or in Miami. Oh, you're making a new X beer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's try it out.
When your Irish
And
Red comes out, I know it's going to be good.
People
I
have
love that
faith
time of year
in
too, by the way,
It's
too.
getting
Right.
better.
Yes.
It's
Can we get there?
You can never be too big for your own britches, too.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
there's certain breweries, I'll give you an example, the Church Goes Beer Fest. They don't show up to beer fests.
Right.
They're too good for those.
Okay.
You have to do it all, guys.
You got to be there for the people.
It's
Right.
That's how you
And they're
establish longevity. Like, yeah, you be a cool flash in the pan, whatever. You may work in a certain market, but like, what are you actually trying to do? Like it's
But that's the point of your identity.
It's intimacy. It's like
Right.
you're creating a relationship. What you've done out there in the market, just literally when you're working with the Publixes and the different stores out there, there's, as odd as it's going to sound, there's an intimacy level there. There's a trust now. Why? Because of the tenure and just the consistency of it all.
Well, it's beer, right?
Yeah.
It's such a unique business because the absolute guy doesn't get that sort of attention or needed attention, or the guy from Bombay Sapphire. When people want that connection to a brewery, there's just something really special about
Right.
that. So
Yeah.
when you go in there, see the shirt, you see the whatever, it elicits an emotion, and that's all you can ask for.
And that's marketing
Totally.
101.
Yeah.
It's just
Oh,
like,
yeah.
it's literally that brand loyalty. And you know that brand, when you're going to always get something good from it. And I feel like that's something that you've instilled 100%. Again, knowing your identity from the get-go. And of course, you can go and try different things, but you and Sailfish and the culture at the end of the day and who you want to be and every beer that you put out there. And even if you do get a little sidebarred with hard teas and everything, you're like 100% know that consistency, the quality, everything that you put out there it's not going to surprise the consumer for them to be like, oh, I tried this beer from Sailfish, I bought it XYZ, and I was just like, what the hell? Like, nobody is sitting there being like, this does not align.
But it comes full
with-
circle. You've taught us, coming from an account manager standpoint, or anything like that, is what this beer is, why this beer
But
is,
that's so
how to
important,
sell that,
though.
and it
Yeah.
creates.
if you're responsible for selling the beer,
Yep.
you want to be able to stand behind it.
Yep.
And
Yes.
the last thing
Right.
you want is that beer to be bad.
Yep.
Be out of stock. Being consistent.
Yep.
Yep.
I think the unique thing for all of us is that, except for you, all four of us have been on both supplier and distributor side, where you're so exposed to different suppliers, different beers, different products as a whole, and it comes down to that reliability of, it's not even that like these brands become priority brands or important brands or what have you. It does 100% come down to identity and consistency, and that's where those brands, you trust it when you sell it. You feel confident, especially on the distributor side, because you have a whole portfolio of beers that you can sell, but you feel confident in saying, you got to try this new thing from Sailfish.
But you guys
They
got
don't
to
even
feel
need a
good about
sample.
that. That there's a trustworthiness in
Right.
the community for your beers.
There's there's nothing better than placing a beer, and it's so fortunate
Love
to
seeing it work.
Yeah, no.
Yep.
Well, the thing is, you can get a beer at a grocery store. It can take a lot of effort to get in there, and I've gotten a handful of beers placed in the number one grocery store from other companies. This has been the first time where the beer is placed, and I know it's going to work, right? And it has worked, and
It's safe to say that Brian has found a home in his marriage that works, and you're engaged.
Ever since that first date.
And
Home in your so you
What happened?
you get married, then you find a home.
Does Brian live here?
Basically.
But
do you have a cot in the back? No,
They're committed.
Where do you live, Brian?
Well,
Even that brew
far
tank,
away, but no, there's a
SB930.
taxidermy animal upstairs that I cozy up with because no one's gonna
It's
walk
with
anywhere
Corey,
near
the
it.
12-foot skeleton. Let's
It's
be
Gabe.
There is.
It is Dave.
Well, here's the thing. It's funny you say that. I actually have like half of my Christmas stuff upstairs in that attic.
Yeah.
I
all of us
donate.
did,
I
yeah.
don't. I
Mine's
donated.
Halloween, but Taylor texted me this
I
year,
s-
and she was like, "What Halloween stuff are you?"
I saw my Christmas tree that I donated after Christmas last year assembled and lit up. I'm like, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, she
I'll-
messaged me
I'll
this year, and
be
she was
here
like,
forever.
"What Halloween stuff do you have for me this year?" And I was like, "Bitch, I don't even buy things for
Banjo.
me anymore. I buy things for this brewery in the sense of like that 12-foot skeleton is my life. Period. I love Corey. And
Those things are expensive.
it was $350.
There's been
$300.
about 15 T-shirts
and
tonight.
I want more so I can make them,
12-foot
couples.
skeleton is my life is the next T-shirt.
All right, Jamie, what
Yes,
else you
sir.
got? I'm
Well,
sorry.
what I
do we
was
got?
what I was thinking about is we've all had beers that did something for us
Yes,
to
sir.
make us go to the next beer or so.
Yeah.
So I was thinking like a Mount Rushmore type of thing.
Yeah.
And there's nothing against any particular brewery
Founding
or.
fathers?
I'm sorry.
Are we talking founding fathers?
Sure.
No, not well, but if you
Mount
figure,
Rushmore,
if you
Founding
figure
Fathers.
Mount Rushmore
Tomato,
with
tomato.
with four faces.
Yeah.
What is your Mount Rushmore for beer? Now I'll start. Right, but there could be no repeats.
okay,
All right.
No.
Well, suck it, nerd. But for what it's worth, is you can go into it a little bit of why. But for myself, the first is going to be Boulevard's Love Child, and there's a series of them. It was a Flemish, and it got me into like sours and
Yeah.
such from other beers.
Yeah.
Then Pliny the Elder from Russian River. Just
easy,
you
yeah.
cannot go wrong with that at all. If I don't say Busch Light, I'm just going to hate myself for saying no.
Hey, man.
But really, Heady Topper.
Okay.
It just opened me up to what beer,
That's your
what
fourth?
a big beer could be. But there's an honorable mention because it's my question and suck it. Is Funky Buddha's Blueberry Cobbler.
Oh.
My first Key West Brew Fest, they had that beer, and I went to
yeah.
I went to a tasting
But,
or
I
a
mean,
dinner pairing
yeah,
the night before, and
it's
the
on there
dessert
for me, too.
was whatever,
Oh, yeah.
and it was Blueberry Cobbler,
Those,
and then I found it
those
the
beers
next
work
day.
so well,
Yeah.
like beer pairing dinners. It's amazing.
It's
yeah.
unreal.
Yeah.
I just wasn't there yet in my craft beer naivete
Yeah.
at that point of like, I had IPAs and I liked her and didn't
Yeah.
like
we
them.
went to
I
a beer
was-
dinner at the fort down the street
Right.
last month, and they had our Cooper's Dance there for
Okay.
dessert, and they made what's the chocolate glaze with it?
Okay.
the
Um,
fondant,
I'm sorry,
the fondant.
I don't know what that word means.
Fondant.
Okay,
Fondant.
Fondant.
whatever.
The
Anyways,
hard
it was
cake
it was a
fondue.
dessert, and the sauce was made with Cooper's Dance, and the pairing, just amazing. I mean, just like
It was rich.
those beers work so well in those
Right.
situations. So sorry to interrupt you.
No, that's okay. So,
Yeah.
Mike, what would be your Mount Rushmore? Your four beers that
that-
have been impactful for you?
I mean, kind of just because, when I moved up here from like the Fort Lauderdale area, I have a soft spot for Funky Buddha.
Yeah.
And for me, last
can
snow,
say
last snow, I
Pretty
mean,
beer.
that was
Pretty beer.
last snow was for me. That was when I moved up here. I mean, I still remember like that first couple months. It was like there was one account up here that got bombers of last snow, and I remember going to the
miss
brass
bombers.
tap.
They were
Like,
coveted.
I mean, I remember going to the brass tap when it was open at the Treasure Coast
Yeah.
Mall, and I walked in there and I was like, hey, I found out you guys are the only place around town that had last snow bombers. At the time, I was very naive at the time, and it was like the guy's like, well, they're really expensive and stuff like that. I was like,
I don't care
I don't give
what
a
it costs.
fuck. Yeah, I don't care. He's like,
care.
well, they're
Give it
$50.
to me.
He goes, they're $50. I was like, can I
And?
buy a case? I
Right.
was like, I don't give a shit. And that one for me, just that one has like
For
a
sure.
real soft spot.
Yeah.
I've always been a fan of like the Goose Island Bourbon County series.
Yep.
I know that they've kind of evolved and changed and blah blah blah. With big beer and all that kind of stuff. But
That first Black Friday in Florida was unbelievable.
I mean, that Black Friday drive.
It made such a
it's
big
like,
deal.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
And it brings you back to like that. I want to get out there and get this.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and
I remember
just think
just
it's
being a Goose
cool.
Which you don't
Island,
see
like,
around
not even
anymore.
being
No.
my type of beer. I'm not big onto the heavy barrel aged stouts and everything. Sorry, guys. The more like.
Everybody's podcast.
Here you go.
We knew it going into this meeting.
Sorry, am I allowed to talk?
No.
But I just
Gabe, more
wanna
beer.
say, went to Goose Island, and that was the thing. Like, it was just so exciting to be able to go to Goose Island and look forward to those beers that they had, those bourbon
Yeah.
barrel
Yeah.
aged beers that they had on tap. Where like it's not even my style, but like you said, like it just creates this like, oh my god, I'm excited. Like I don't care. Like I want it. And
Yeah.
going to Goose Island was like a
a big deal.
give me that beer.
What else you got,
Give it
Mike?
up,
It was
barely.
exciting.
What else you got, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to piggyback on Jamie with the
You're the
bush
worst.
light thing. You know, I know you said no repeats, but
Yeah.
you know, as I kind of alluded to and hinted at earlier, it's like it's that social beer. You know, kind of like the light tackles. You know, we can sit here. You know, if we were drinking.
I've seen
Flounder-
it at Tiki 52.
If we were drinking Flounder Pounders right now, like the podcast would have ended an hour ago.
Right.
You know, we can sit
not
here.
a
We can
chance,
sit
yeah.
here
Or
and
there'd
keep
be a
on
lot more
crushing.
drool.
It's a social thing. You know, those
It would have been a lot more
light
interesting.
domestics, and it's that nostalgic feature, and you know, the great company that Jamie and I have the pleasure to work with and stuff like that. I mean, it's I've had the pleasure again to go to St. Louis and seeing the Bush family lineage and the history and things like
awesome.
that, and it's a different level of appreciation. And I think that everyone, if they ever have the opportunity to go to St. Louis and see what that
I'd
is
love
all
to go.
about,
That would be great
it
if
is,
I could.
it's a life change.
If you appreciate beer at
So-
all, like that would be
Yeah.
the place you would want to go. And just
They
a
have real
sense of-
Clydesdales there.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Yep.
And some animatronic ones.
I'm
Yes.
not kidding. When
No, there's no
I met the
animatronic.
Clydesdales, when a moment in time when I worked for Southern Eagle and got to have that privilege to, do the parade with the Clydesdales and everything like that, that was like, again, the pride. The pride.
My
the
favorite
Clydesdales
thing
are-
about all that is there's Rob Montgomery just sitting next to the guy.
I know exactly what you're talking
Yeah. It's like, how do you get there? Yep. Yeah.
My favorite thing
chilling.
was we were doing it.
All right, beer's there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so Brian, you're
Dave said, "Shut the
There's
hell
only
up."
three, but it's fine. Go
No,
ahead.
no,
You got a fourth.
We're gonna run out of
No,
batteries.
it's fine.
Oh, well, I think we're running. Yeah,
Already?
we're
Close, yeah, so
we're
let's
up against
wrap it up, yeah.
All right.
Fair enough.
So,
Shut the hell up, Brian.
Stone Arrogant Bastard
There you go.
was a beer
yeah.
that when it came into the state, people didn't know how to describe it. It's hoppy, it's malty, it's big, it's imperial. I couldn't get enough of it. Oscar Bluesdale's Pale Ale.
Oh yeah.
Only because that was a craft beer in a can. I remember selling it and being such an advocate for it. And I mean, that changed beer completely.
It did.
Saranac Caramel Porter
Oh.
is my first aha beer.
Is that why you loved, Jody's beer, caramel cream ale?
I didn't care for caramel cream,
Wow, that was a deep cut.
but I
Saranac.
You know,
But I
gotta
love
have 'em.
caramel cream.
But
Who
Saranac
doesn't?
Caramel Porter was that
That's my
first
fourth.
beer. I was drinking Pete's Wicked Ales and Killian's. I never really got into the macro lagers until I was like deep into college, and I don't know how I came across it, but someone goes, "Yeah, I got one of those micro brews in the fridge. You can grab whatever you want." It was that one, and it rocked my world. It changed my fucking life. I chugged it basically and said, like, I'll take all of them. And for the fourth beer, I think you have to give it up to Boston Beer Company, and I think you have to say Sam Adams Oktoberfest, because that's a beer that revolutionized the seasonal category.
Yep.
And it
Yeah.
also exposed a
100%.
lot of people to craft beer. And it was the first, before your Last Snows and before your Love Child series.
It
and
taught people what a Marzen was.
well, what it was, you went to the grocery store, you went, oh shit, it's there.
Yeah.
Like there was no Facebook or anything, or no distribution.
time.
Yeah. No, it was a simpler time in 2004. No, but you saw that orange box. You
20
lost-
years ago.
Yeah.
Mine was their cherry wheat.
Cherry wheat's
Yeah.
money.
Oh,
Like,
when
so-
I could see that, like, just same with any of the Sam seasonal. Sorry, guys,
Yeah,
to
no.
interrupt here, but
No, all
just
good.
the same thing was just like I have literally three, and their Boston beers.
Yeah.
Sam Adams cherry wheat was like straight up in my top three. Of like, if you could find that, like, how unique and interesting cherry beer. You don't even see cherry beer
It was
now.
it was a miracle when you found it, and the old
Yes.
packaging was so bobo. It was like you didn't even know it was cherry wheat.
Am
but
I a Sam Adams girl?
It's possible.
All
Sorry,
right, so
guys.
if cherry wheat's one of the three, what are the other three then?
So the two beers that really, really got me into craft beer, and again, West Virginia, a situation where like it's very limited at the grocery stores and
Oh,
everything
man.
like that. So I'd go out, especially tailgating, pregame, what have you. Left.
Thank you.
I loved Left.
Oh no, more
Oh,
And
beer.
I-
Leffa, yeah.
I
Left,
loved
no.
Left, and I loved the first thing that got me into IPAs was Sierra Nevada's Pale Ale.
Oh gosh.
And
Yep.
those were my three.
Thanks, sir.
It's straight
I-
up Left,
Man,
Sierra
I
Nevada
feel
Pale
bad
Ale,
about that
and the Sam Adams Cherry Wheat. Those were my ones that like definitely introduced me to different
Thanks, Eric.
styles,
Thank you.
and just
Open
10 years
open
ago,
up the box.
yeah, 10 years exactly. It opened up the box to just been like, damn.
I can't
I
believe
mean, we lived
I
on Natty
forgot
Light.
Sierra
Our
Nevada.
keg
Sierra
parties were
Nevada.
Natty
Pale
Light,
ale.
and it was just
It's an
that.
OG.
Oh, yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
it is,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
it's just like that. As you said, it opened up the box and
Uh-huh.
just been like, there is
That's the New York
better
Yankees
beer.
of craft beer.
Yeah, and anyway, Dave, you seem like you're ready to
They
talk.
are.
Dropping fly balls in the 5th inning.
Jamie,
Oh,
He's
I-
avoiding-
Jamie, you
Oh,
ask
I
him
saw
what
it
his
live.
favorite
It
beers
was
not
are.
painful.
covering first base.
Hey, Dave, what would be your Mount Rushmore of beers? Like,
So it's 4?
Yeah.
4.
Non-Sailfish beers?
Yes,
if you'd
you
like
have
to be,
I
it
mean,
is your podcast.
Well, there's
at least not at the moment because I'm
there's
the
two
captain
beers
now,
that
but-
relate to starting Sailfish.
Sure.
For me was Magic Hat Hard Darkness
Okay.
and
yeah.
Green Flash West Coast IPA.
Oh, their passion
Green,
pit.
yeah.
Green
So
flash hat. Oh, their
those are my
passion.
two in that era of things. Evolution-wise, I got really, really hard into the barrel aged sours
Okay.
and
Okay.
Cantillon. That smell.
Oh.
You know, Dave Cavassini, he bared with me as I wanted to start our own sour Solera project.
Right.
We did upstairs. We bought 12 French oak barrels, and that smell was just like you cannot replicate that smell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like that's a fun time. Her and I sat in Cantillon one time, and just like it's just a good
The way
time.
they
You just
serve
can't go
it
wrong.
is in
So-
like this beautiful cornucopia. They bring out your what you guys call them, bombers.
Bombers, yeah.
Bombers. They
Mm-hmm.
bring out this bomber of like Cantillon, and it's just like same thing. You do the tour and you go and like they see everything laid out, and like it's like this very old school style, everything, etc., etc. And anyway, agree.
So that's the third one,
Sorry.
and not one specific one, but everything I have there is amazing. And I'd say honestly now, light tackle. I mean that's like my bush light.
That's the
guys.
finishing move. That's
Yeah.
the
It's
Mortal
your light
Kombat
tackle.
finishing move.
That's
right
my
there.
light tackle.
That's
and,
it.
Love it.
It just makes sense for
Finish
the
him.
evolution of a beer drinker in a craft brewery for over a decade. I'm now at this, and
Yep.
I've been through all of it.
Right.
And I'll maybe go back to something else later, but like that's where I'm at.
Yeah,
Age-wise,
I like
everything
that.
else.
I mean, I think we're about the same type of thing, is getting yourself back to center of
Right.
I know what I like and why I like it.
Yeah, and-
but then to what do I like? I drink this.
Good example was like last night I had an Oktoberfest to start.
Yeah.
Then I went to these. Like you have that starting beer, what you want, like a Sunrise or October, whatever it is.
Right.
And then you can go on to this, and that's
Yep.
what I like about this scenario we have now. So.
I remember there was a time when I was drinking Ballast Point Scorpion.
Scorpion or
This-
Sculpin?
Sculpin.
I was close.
Wait, hold on one second. Hold on one
That
second.
was that.
Please
I mean,
hold.
I think it had a scorpion on the label.
No, no, it did
But-
not.
No,
It had a
was
sculpin
it was
fish.
it was a lion. Wasn't
we're
it a
probably
lionfish?
going to
Show the hell up, definitely.
run out of battery in like probably 2 minutes. So, what's that? Good. All right. Sorry, I was. He told me 24 minutes.
35 more minutes.
So
22 minutes ago,
Back
yeah.
to Sculpin IPA. Where I remember
Jamie
sitting
has
there-
25 more questions. So
All right.
I'm actually pretty. I'm actually.
You good?
Of course, I'm good.
All right.
Yeah, I
so
get to be on your
what was your
podcast.
guys' thoughts? I mean, like this was so amazing to me. Cannot wait to have you guys on again.
Oh, thank you.
it was
Honestly, next
awesome.
time I'm just gonna sit back and just run it. So that's
Yeah.
amazing. Like I mean,
For sure.
It's so. What are your guys' thoughts?
Well, just the opportunity of being able to do this with you.
Oh, for
I mean,
sure,
It's
yeah.
not even a for
Yeah.
you, just the opportunity that you invited us to do this and
Right.
to
Of course,
yeah.
play with you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, in this place, and it means something. No one else has had a podcast back here.
Right.
Yeah, you've had it in different
This-
locations.
yeah.
But we've had it back here.
Yeah.
This is inner workings, and we kind of are the inner workings of this. All of us combined.
Yep.
Yes.
It's something to be said for that, and I just wanted to thank you for giving us the opportunity.
Oh
No,
yeah,
of course.
I mean, thank you guys. I mean, it's I was just we turned some stupid, silly idea that we're just bullshitting about on our daily calls, and it's seeing how you guys have kind of taken that and elevated it into something that a lot of people out there in the beer world that might not see this side of the business or this
And
side
it's
of
not
us.
easy. I mean,
no, it is not.
It's we just launched this in August.
yeah,
Yeah.
And
yeah,
it feels we've been doing it for 5 years.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
it's a day of the week.
yep.
And we're trying to release.
I think if you swim, just from a guy that's I've listened to them all for the most part, if you swim between format or plan and not, like we kind of did today, you had your ideas of what
Oh,
you
yeah.
like, and
Yeah.
I could tell from those second ones that you had a plan going into it, yeah, I want to say derailed. That's too loose to say. But
Yeah.
when you get the other ones, it was more fun. Like the one with Gabe and Taylor, it was great.
Yeah.
Dave
right.
doesn't do not well without a plan.
No, but I can
you know?
understand that OCD to OCD. I get that.
Same.
But
Or not
if
same,
you can
opposite same.
swim back and forth
Oh,
through
for
that,
sure, yeah.
Right.
is
Yeah.
you know where you want to go,
Well,
and when you got to pull it back.
We
in.
don't know where it's going to go. I truthfully thought
Right.
today that we were going to be like pissing ourselves laughing, and we ended up like getting very me personally like getting very guys. Beer isn't dead, and it's not going to death. I truthfully thought that we would be like pissing ourselves, and we didn't. It got very serious.
All right, so we need like
Yes.
more shots
Yeah.
beforehand.
I think-
Yeah, we
That
could-
was too
there could
serious?
always be a next
Oh
time.
yeah, oh yeah. No,
Next-
we're like
There's a
giving-
part 2.
Yeah,
A
There's
part-
a
okay, a
Tune
part
in
2.
later.
part 2. We start at 2nd Street, and then
Yes. Oh yeah.
then shit hits the fan.
Be ready for a lot of
'Cause
editing on that one.
This is one of the funniest guys I've ever met in my life.
Oh,
And
we
then
get
there's Mike
stupid.
Licameli.
I mean, before
Like I
this,
said, the meat
before
and
this started
potatoes,
going, before this started going, we were pissing each other, just laughing. You know?
Like Mike and I are to Jamie and Brian and Emily.
Yeah.
Like comparable
It's a
figure.
balance.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
a balance in the sense of like you have to have it.
But she doesn't know Gilligan. She doesn't know Gilligan's Island. So
Oh, we should stop talking now.
Oh,
We don't
okay,
want- what
okay,
do you
Banjo.
want? What do you want?
Question for you guys.
sir,
Okay, what you got?
Do you
So-
wish
so
Emily
there-
would shut the fuck up?
The second question. You guys were Sun Eagle.
sir.
You guys have Mike recently promoted to brand manager. Fuck a better term, right?
Yep.
Right man
You
for
guys-
the job.
I'm sorry.
Right man for the job.
For sure.
Correct.
Thank you.
You guys
Thank you.
both come up. You guys were, correct me wrong, you were both with Brown, right?
Sir.
Yep.
And then got absorbed from this. What are the biggest challenges you guys have now? Just where you're at in tenure of the industry, where it's at. Like, what do you need the most help with?
Beer knowledge.
Okay.
I mean, it ends up being broad stroke.
Yeah.
Where there's too many people and too many bartenders, at least in my aspect of, they know what people want and aren't going to ask that next question to see if they want to do anything more. You talk about the crafted keg, where you and I essentially met and started working together.
Right.
Is you have that first beer, be it whatever it is, be it a Sunrise City or a Bud Light. Hey, you had this. Can I talk to you about this beer? Because he was informed about that beer, took the time to look it up, and goes to the next part. Not enough people are, in my
Right.
opinion, are taking at least time or accepting information that somebody like myself or somebody like Mike can give to. From as simple as we talked about seltzers earlier, like, oh, that's a seltzer. No, it's not seltzer at all. It's fucking tea. To anything. No, this beer isn't like that. No, it's not an IPA. It's a lager. What's the difference? And so forth. If really
Like
teaching people what they
telling someone your Yingling drink will gravitate to this one.
exactly.
Or your
Selling.
Yeah.
What's the story behind it? Why would you like something like this? You may not like it, but this is why I think you would like this. Getting that out to the consumer, that's really just it is. I can give you everything and let me help you. Because I don't sell, I heard a long time ago that, I think it was in a video or a training video, or someone very wise told me is, I try not to sell to an account. I want to sell through an account. I don't care about you, manager. I want to talk to the client.
The bartenders are your best salesmen.
Exactly.
They are an extension of you.
Yep.
What you know and what you teach them is.
And that's what
they're gonna
I
teach
try
their
to do
customers.
to get it through.
Yep.
Please.
I mean, I think, and this is going to sound just really probably odd, but with my beer career and where I kind of started and with just kind of like being in craft world and kind of being brought up with that, with my years at Crafted Keg, my years with Brown, my biggest challenge with, when coming onto this side and with the acquisition and with Southern Eagle was, having to be out there and fighting for all of the lines that him and I fought for, like working for Brown. It's we didn't have a Michelob Ultra to go out there and be like, yeah, I mean,
Why don't you have this?
You already have 4 or 5 of our lines, like with Mich Ultra, Stella, Bud Light, and all the other great brands that we sell. So the hardest thing for me was kind of adapting to those real big mega brands, those macro just huge.
That's a hard
national-
transition because it's two different
national brands.
sellings.
Yep.
And,
Yeah.
And it was it was quite the challenge and stuff like that. And, and like I said, it's not really like hell or anything like that in the market, but for me, that was the biggest transition on, I'm stacking Michelob Ultra as high as the ceiling, whereas, I used to, when I would go to a Publix and I would bring out whatever I was packing out for the store, like, in my arms. I didn't even need a shopping cart.
Yeah.
It was like I brought out the 5 cases or 4 cases, and I just carried them out and packed it out.
There's something to be said for legacy,
Right.
And you get there with tenure, because now you're selling story and why a consumer would like this thing. You've been drinking this for this long, you're trusted in this, just like how you guys are that now.
Yeah, and that's what I'm so excited in, with, I'm still very early on in my new position and things like that, but, getting to work with the suppliers, learn learn the personalities, learn and, just kind of grow and, seeing that other back-end aspect on, growing brands and building brands is...
meeting people where they are is a very difficult thing,
Yeah,
Especially
so it's exciting.
Our industry is, like, it's always evolving. Constantly. Like, I mean, you can sit there one day, think you know what's going on, but the very next day, it's something completely different. Again, we could go back to RTDs and the shelf space, COVID, blah, 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 but just meaning, like, how difficult it is to always be on your toes, not only as just a salesman, but, like, to go onto, like, what you believe in, what you think is right, blah, blah, blah. And it's very hard to shift and be that advocate for not only your macro brands, but also your micro brands. It's very...
But that's where the relationships come in. The more that we know about somebody, the people that Mike is going to be able to talk to on a random Tuesday, the people that you're going to talk to on a random Tuesday, and mine, the bar that's in the same plaza as a restaurant, they have 2 different reasons for wanting something, be it megas, crafts, or both, and both. Let me talk to you about why you should have something like this. Let me prove to you why this beer works.
Right.
And you get to create those relationships and that
crushing
trust.
that Southern Eagle lingo, brother.
Yeah.
That is really...
Well, you guys have it
my megas, my
beautifully
crafts,
in that sense of, like, that loyalty. Again, I'll talk about this every chance I get with, like, just Southern Eagle and that family culture, that trust, that loyalty, everything else. And it goes beyond macro brands. It goes beyond Bud Light. It goes beyond Mick. It goes beyond all of it. And it's just, like, the people that are on deck, you guys are... You trust you, like, you love you. You want to hear what you have to say. You want to hear what you have to push. And even if it's like you have to push those macro brands, at the end of the day, when it comes to us as a small, not granular level, but like a smaller level against those macro brands, when you guys come to an account and you're sitting there saying, hey, I love this brewery, this beer, this whatever, how far that goes. And you guys are the face.
But
really,
it goes back to earning
that.
trust, though. People trust Sailfish. People trust Bud Light. People trust this. And hopefully they can trust me. Why? Because I put them in that direction, and it works for them.
Right.
I'm not going to put you in a direction that I don't think is going to work. And I'll fight against it, but ultimately it's your decision.
And I mean, like, and how can Jamie and I, like, almost, like, reverse that question onto you guys? So that question, you know...
Challenge, I'm sorry, the question was challenge is selling beer?
No.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry. What was it?
No idea.
What was it?
Well,
I
it's
mean,
not...
like,
well, the thing is...
Again, we're all in the middle of
No,
the
when
question. Sorry.
I think we're all answering 3 different questions. This just got very funny all of a sudden.
It's sorry.
I'll let Ryan answer for me. So.
No, here's the thing. It's rare that you have a partnership like this one. So I can't give any sort of feedback as to how to improve it, because I constantly we're all on the same page. There's rarely a scenario, where I feel like I'm fighting the wholesaler. Certainly with Southern Eagle, that hasn't happened. I think the only thing that I'll always ask for is honest feedback.
Yeah.
If we're not performing, if we're not doing our part, if we're trying to push something that's not going to work at the account, we need to know that. And thankfully,
and that's what I strive to, and I want to.
I was going to say thankfully
I
we're there.
It to be a two-way street,
right?
Not even from my level, but from an account manager level. The guys out in the field every single day.
It's the most
guys
helpful
out in the field every day.
It's the most helpful for every supplier. Whether they're willing to accept the honest feedback or not. It's the most helpful. It's the only way that you can improve. Telling someone they're great doesn't help them. Telling them how they can get better or what they're missing, every time.
Yep.
Sounds good.
I like it. That was a good final statement there, Judge Duty. I like that.
Man,
Ginger Gilligan kills it.
Ginger Gilligan.
I love
Damn
how it
it.
always comes back to you being the ginger
Yeah.
that you self-proclaim as not being a ginger.
My
It
beard
looks more
is red.
blonde to me.
Today
Is
it's
it
blonde.
red?
My beard is like
lighter.
Beard is red.
It has red here
Yeah.
and blonde here.
Right.
Some
And
call
like-
it Irish.
The podcast we had with Gabe and Brian on one side of the table, they were the two.
No.
They needed to change the chroma key for the light.
No,
Brian
we were-
had red power.
It was like what are those ghosts with beards doing on this podcast?
I mean, you could be this
Too
Gandalf
many-
shit that I have going on.
Too many pretty lights.
There was literally a point where I was like, oh, sorry, the gingers are having a sidebar right now.
And we
I
did.
do remember that.
We
I
did.
Love it.
Let's not
Well,
repeat what I said.
I will say
shortly
this: I mean,
thereafter.
we're obviously with multiple other wholesalers in the states, and you guys have ruined us from an expectation level standpoint.
yeah.
And
Start sucking.
in a manner of working with people that you have a mutual respect for,
Right.
and that's a tough thing to do, because
Right.
at the end of the day, it's like reliability, trust, performance, all those things build that respect, and especially the Treasure Coast team. There's not a member of that fucking team I don't respect, because you guys got their goddamn work, man.
Thank you.
I mean, you work and you know what's going on. And back to what I said earlier, you know the pulse point of your retail account, even down to the consumer sometimes. What's going to work there? To your point, drive through the sale.
Yep.
I don't care about the owner. I want to talk to the buyer
Right.
and actually understand the bartenders and what's actually selling out there, what's working.
Right.
Not trying to put a round peg to a square hole. What's going
Yeah.
to make sense for you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And talking to them and
How can I
developing a
help you
relationship.
make money? How can I make people want
Right.
to come here?
Correct. And like, it's there's so many
relationship business.
so many
What it is.
cliches things I can say, but to Michael's point, it's relationships.
Yeah.
You guys build the relationships.
Yeah.
That's what establishes and maintains the longevity that Slither Eagle has. On premise is the most difficult part of our business. Not to discount anything, off premise is tough as hell too.
No.
On
Oh, yeah.
premise is tough, guys. It is tough as hell because
Fuck
you
that.
are.
I don't want to do it. I see what those guys do. I'm not waking up
Oh
at
my
4
God.
o'clock in the morning.
I mean it when I
The
say
hell?
that.
I mean, all hats off, and
I've
all
been in the
credit.
office for
It's all.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's a lot of climbing to get to a point.
I've
But
been
once your shit sticks,
We've been there.
it's
No,
on. Yeah.
But they're both two different, completely different aspects of the business.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I will say, my experience on premise is the most difficult side of it.
Yep.
Because of just how
You have
difficult
to
that
curate.
is.
It's not today.
Agreed, yeah.
It's not tomorrow. I mean, just coming
You're
from
building a plan.
Yeah.
That, hey, my goal is to get on draft there in 6 months.
It's a mental game.
How do I do that?
It's a mental game.
It is.
Yeah,
And
it
like,
is.
I mean, my favorite part is when he'll go out and spend a day on the on-premise market and he'll come back exhausted. I'm like, do this, not even like do this 5 days a week. That like, not even like, I know I get it. But it is that, like, in the sense of like, when you come home or when you, at the end of your day and that sales aspect of like, especially the industry is evolved. It's grown beyond like, hey, I got a good beer, you got a good business, let's team up kind of thing. It's gone beyond that now, especially since, again, COVID, but like, it's how can you land your beer into that account, and you have to get so creative and you have to get to that really deep personal level of how can I make this work for you, because I know it will. But how can I get you to get like understand? Give me a chance, give me a shot, kind of thing.
But when you finally do that, I mean, it's
the-
I mean, the
the
best way to do it,
level
like,
of accomplishment?
I
It is
call,
the ultimate gratification.
it's
The
orgasmic.
ultimate.
You know,
It-
just
it's the
you
ultimate.
nurture.
I mean,
the
I
ultimate.
called. There's an account that I had, and it had been a year and a half since I'd had the account, and there was something I was trying to put in. It was Sunrise City, and I'd been trying to put in for the entirety of my tenure working with these people. And when I did, I called you before I even turned the car on. I called you, and I called you, and you didn't pick up. But you know, whatever. And
it
just-
wasn't intentional.
There was no point. I didn't need anyone to congratulate. I don't want to tap on the shoulder. Like, I need you to understand.
exciting.
Is
Yeah.
I've been doing.
Yeah.
I've been
It's the
trying
chase.
this
It's
for
the
so
carrot
long.
at the end of the
will
stick.
say
And
it's
it
the end of
is.
the day,
It's the
the
carrot.
thrill is in the kill.
Yep.
And it's not even what keeps you going. But
No, it's what keeps you going.
is,
But yeah,
actually.
to that point, and one of the things that and Brian's actually taught me recently, as or reminded me of, is how important the process is.
Yeah.
Yes.
You have to love the process.
Yep.
Right.
Because
it's
man,
process over outcomes.
to ride out the
Yep.
highs and lows of the sales aspect of this industry is tough to do.
Oh, yeah.
You have to love the process.
You can just be really good. And
One thing
yeah,
I mean,
you
that's
don't
too,
have-
that's great.
You
So
don't,
if
you
you're
don't have
really
highs and
good, you're
lows.
fine. But like,
No,
yeah.
diving into that, it's if you're at the very best that you are every single day, that's your preparation. When preparation meets opportunity, you're going to win, right?
Right.
No, you
So
just
it's-
look at it as tomorrow I'll be better than I
love-
was today, and today I was great.
It's nice to find someone that out analogies me, and Brian out analogies me.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this: I've repeated some of his analogies. That goddamn good.
I mean,
Look at you.
Brian is
Yeah.
the guy you go to if you're down in the slumps, period. 'Cause he's been there, done that, everything in between.
No, you are
100%.
the most positive. We talk about it all the time. Is
Oh my
you
God.
are the most positive person
I
I
know
know.
it is.
But when you're also
ooze
like trying to
positivity.
like talk to Brian about being realistic and like temper expectations, you feel awful. 'Cause, like, you feel like you pop this balloon sometimes, and I'm like, oh god, dude.
Did we make you sad? No, I don't think I can make him sad.
Well,
Right.
well, occasionally I will get on a jag, and I have to realize that jag is not productive or on our plan, and maybe if we bring it back down to earth, things will be
To his point, though, we actually had this conversation this week. We act a lot bigger than we are.
yeah.
But you want? Who doesn't want to?
But
Fair though, fair.
Yeah.
But we act a lot bigger from an organizational standpoint, professionalism, relationships.
Right.
how we go to
Doing the
market,
right- how do we
what's-
market.
yeah.
But we also have to temper, like, hey, we are not that big either. So like, we can't do everything that everybody else is doing. That is bigger. We
Right.
can't do what Sierra Nevada is doing. We can't, even though we want to be the one day.
We
we're
could
not
do
there
the,
yet.
we could do the best
So-
with their processes, right? And mold them to ours, but it's not the same, right?
Yeah,
we have
yeah.
to the
But if-
Lasso way, the Ted Lasso way.
But if you go there with the PMA, with the positive mental attitude, and maybe you've curtailed that plan to
PMA.
mimic.
What an acronym.
Like there you go. To
Stop
be
it.
like Sierra Nevada, but maybe just at a lesser standpoint.
No, two people I've
Yeah.
always looked up to was Dale's and
So-
Sierra Nevada.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they kept it simple.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
did the same thing
Yeah.
the right way. They didn't try and be everything to everybody. They realized who they were, had identities, and said, "Hey, I'm not going to change my identity.
Yeah.
This is who we are."
The 2025 Sailfish mantra is keep it simple, stupid.
That's
We're-
so.
It's
It's
keep
keep
it
it simple. Keep it simple, stupid 3.0.
3.0.
I like that.
Yeah.
All right. Notice it's
I
been
mean, I
three.
think everything
It's been
is
three.
one
Because
point.
when
Great-
Brian
great
came on
advice-
board
great-
2 years ago,
Yeah.
it was keep it simple 1.0.
Yeah.
Then 2.0 this year,
That
3.0
was
next
3.0.
year.
Got
Great
it.
advice hurts my feelings every time.
Oh, it does. I feel awful. Like I feel like I just ruined his day.
Yeah.
And like,
Especially that stupid part.
I feel
That's the part.
like with our
You're
culture,
lovely.
with our culture, we have like between me, you, and Dave, we have this thing of like realism, optimism, and not necessarily pessimism, but it's just like a lot of realism, right? And Brian is always that beacon of like, hey, maybe you can do, hey, maybe this, hey, whatever. And again, if you're feeling like your day,
Can I tell you that
sucks,
I have calmed down a lot in my tenure? I used to be at a 15 at all
well,
times.
you've also
Like,
been involved
legit.
in so many different places
Yeah.
where the only thing you had to crouch on was optimism.
Well, if the product isn't selling, something has to sell it.
Right.
Yeah.
And you have been able to bring that beautiful,
Work it, girl.
bright personality.
Nipples.
so we've set a record today, longest podcast ever,
Great.
over 2
Oh
hours,
man.
and that's amazing
Part tour.
because it's not felt like 2 hours.
No,
It really
it
hasn't.
hasn't.
Technically,
Like,
it was 3 because we had a pump on for the first hour.
Fair.
Yeah.
From a-
And with
from
what,
a-
4
from
pee
a-
breaks?
From a butts in a seat standpoint, you're right. 3
Yep.
hours.
Yeah.
These are the most empty pipes on the table,
We
too.
need to have these two on again soon.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Because I think
Well,
we
I mean,
scratched the surface of the conversation,
Yes, we did.
and I love the fact that Mike and Jamie came with questions
Yes.
to us because that was honestly
They came,
great just to
they
answer
came
questions.
prepared, yeah.
Yeah.
Not to like worry about the
Kudos to
conversation.
Jamie on that
We
one.
call it show prep.
I think we need to return that favor
We're
next
pros.
time and ask
Yeah.
some better questions for ourselves, in my opinion. And we need to think about some other fun stuff we do next time, other than just honestly rambling and BSing. And that's actually great too. So
No,
yeah.
this,
Oh, yeah.
this was absolutely fantastic. The
No,
opportunity.
yeah.
I think
I
next
think
time
we should bring some other beers on next time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
like
that.
talk
I
about
that.
like that aspect.
That's a
like we
great idea.
damned off
Yeah.
our to Jamie's point, our Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
Bring those on the podcast. Let's drink those.
Dance.
Okay.
Excuse me?
Cooper's dance.
Cooper's dance as well.
I mean,
very-
maybe it's just
I
like
mean, it
where
might be something
it
to-
kind of divulges into a level.
We may get
of-
really drunk. That's fine.
It's
It
whatever.
might be something
Well,
to
like
carry on as
beer
you're talking to
bottle
others.
opening.
I also
it
think
might
we
be
need,
like an 8-hour long podcast
And
with that
that's-
one, but it's fine.
and we
It's-
need to
it's-
find
it's
a more
totally fine.
comical location too. Like next time, maybe
What?
in the attic.
The
or-
brewery is not comical. Come on.
No, well,
We're gonna do this in Taylor's office.
right.
And everyone's like,
Oh,
will we
by the
fall
way,
through?
that was legit one of the options that we asked Taylor around 11 o'clock this morning, and she went, "No fucking way."
Wish I loved
What's
that.
scary
I'm
about
not gonna
Taylor
choose her
is she
soup
says
this year.
those things with a complete
With a
smile
big-
on
yeah.
her face. You're like, are you serious? Or are you like messing with me right now? She's diabolical.
Yeah,
We're
just for
leaving
that,
our
I'm not
office
choosing
like
your soup. I said
fully
it a second ago.
decorated. Like if we do it there, we're just decking out the whole office.
Absolutely.
Like
So
she's gonna walk in there and be
we're
like, "What the
early
hell?"
November now.
Yeah.
I can see a Christmas theme.
Right.
Kind of fits really well.
Yeah.
It
A little
does.
slow time, maybe right before Christmas.
The pajama podcast, the Christmas
Oh my
pajama
God,
podcast.
I love the pajama
shit.
podcast.
A little bit
An
colder.
ug-
Do it
an
back here
ugly-
again.
Yeah.
An ugly Christmas sweater podcast.
Word
I
up.
mean,
Ugly, that's pretty
Ugly.
simple.
You guys
wanna do that?
Ugly Christmas sweater.
Yes.
We could do that.
I mean,
I'm
that'd
with
be
it.
great, honestly.
totally
I mean,
in.
you know.
Yeah. Sign
So
me
like,
up.
can I
That sounds
think
great.
about that first week before Christmas before we leave?
Sure.
Or holidays hit at least because like
No, you can't.
the holidays are like 2 weeks this year too, by the way, because Christmas falls on a Wednesday,
Yeah.
and so is New Year's, so it's 2 week long holiday.
It's
Yeah.
funny that you already know that.
Why wouldn't I know that?
We looked
It's,
at
I mean, I don't
it's
know
just
when-
math.
we planned
It's
out the
just
whole
math.
year
Matt,
again
like,
today.
The
It's
only
sales. Like I know what's going to sell.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to sell more that week. 2
Yep.
weeks.
Yep.
My HOA sent out their newsletter. And they were like,
Nobody
I read
cares,
this this
Emily.
morning.
This one is called the non sequitur.
Nobody
yeah, they
cares.
sent out, hey, y'all.
Jamie, I've got this boil on my foot. You should hear what
Okay,
happens
time
when I
out.
Drink a lot of sour beers. I now have to have Prilosec every day.
Y'all are the worst.
You're
My
old
HOA
ass,
sent out
Jamie.
a whole
You old
thing.
ass.
My doctor recently diagnosed me with anal fissures.
Nate has officially give us the.
That's how we wrap it up.
We wrap it up.
All right.
Jamie, Mike, love having you guys on today. Can't
Yeah.
wait to have you on again early.
Thank you, guys.
Sorry,
Thank you,
right
thank you.
before
That's the
Christmas. Brian, Emily, as always.
Oh, the best,
Yeah.
man. Incredible.
Florida
Guys.
Brewing Reports.
I'm glad we didn't.
Thanks for tuning in, guys.
We didn't
Talk to you
end
next
on that joke.
Have a good night, guys.
Cheers, guys.
Maybe we did.